Are great when they only need to worry about 3 to 4 maps. These social polls, by the way, have been bananas. 50-50.
Doesn't get closer than that, does it, Parker? Let's load into Bank and get straight into the operator bans as we set the stage for this great matchup between Virtus.pro and FaZe Clan, 2 top teams from top regions, and we do have a little bit of a HUD bug. So, flip the names. Virtus.pro, they're going to be banning out the Monty up against FaZe Clan, which makes a lot of sense. VP have never found much success in the shield meta. They've always strayed away from it. I will say, this event, they've been bringing in a bit more shields compared to what people have been used to. So I was thinking that we might see some, and given that there's still 2 very strong shields left on the board, Virtus.pro absolutely might be bringing those out through the first 6.
Absolutely might be, Jesse. They absolutely might be.
All right, just make fun of me live on the broadcast then.
Yes, that's exactly correct.
It's a little far. They banned the Valkyrie as well, and then the Kaid, the last ban taken out from FaZe Clan. They also banned the Ace, which is a weird ban, but less weird on Bank. We do see Ace get banned out every now and again on this map, and usually it's because it's so strong at opening up the Kanto wall, opening up the main wall down inside of server as well. You can use Ace in a lot of strong ways. Going to force some more Hibana play, some more Thermite play, and it'll probably be repicked away from, but immediately both those ops being picked up by Virtus.pro.
Only one shield ban. There was some another little bit of chatter on social media today about the prevalence of these shield operators to get banned out. Monte is the most banned attacker. Doesn't even come close to Azami, by the way. Azami is the most banned character, period.
Yes, of course.
She's removed more than 50% of the time. But Monty is next in line with 42%. Blitz then follows with 30%, tied with Blackbeard at 30% as well. So Monty, Blackbeard, and Blitz being banned nonstop. The only non-shield operator on attack with a high ban rate is Deimos. Well, would you look? He's being picked. Whoa, he was being picked.
You got baited.
Dan swaps off to Ash at the last second.
All right, I mean, it's 2 very strong frag-focused operators, right? Ash, obviously, slightly better gun, faster, very comfortable for a lot of people. But Deimos, of course, has that utility to track down players specifically. Good if you're expecting a heavy roam game. In this very first round of Bank, we're not seeing much of a roam game. 3 players are starting this round on the main floor rather than the basement, but they're all in positions where they could fall off really early. Handy inside the elevators will have a hatch open right next to him. Cyber and KDS in open area as well will have those hatches. And as Shepard gets on these lobby windows, his goal is going to be to punish anybody who tries to make a rotate through that hallway. Doubt we'll see any. FaZe Clan probably going to play this relatively cautiously. Virtus.pro aware of the fact that FaZe are unlikely to be heavily roaming up on this top floor, so they're going to do some good work starting off on the roam clear, going quickly up above. Buck, DMR, by the way.
DMR's real hurt real bad online. DMR's real hurt bad there, brother.
Actually, is it a shotgun, technically?
The cameras, it's the CMRS, it's a DMR.
Okay, making sure.
Virtus.pro have deployed 7 drones. They have 8 available. This is honestly very good drone economy for this team. VP like to dot their I's, cross their T's, or whatever the equivalent is in Cyrillic. I'm not sure.
There you go, yeah.
Different language. But
Cyrillic, yeah, good job. That's the script.
That is. But they're very thorough, and having this much intel at their disposal with so much time left surely should work well. Now, mind you, there is a mute on the board, so I suspect things will get maybe a little bit trickier. Some of those drones were afflicted by the jammer, and now they've been fixed by Dan. Dan dropping, I think it was 50 kills in that Raza Company Academy match. He just walks into the middle of the site, ashes the mirror window, and then gets out of there. Goyo canisters will go off, and there's a minute left for VP to figure out how to tackle this defense.
This is important work by Always. He needs to make a clean hole that he can now walk through with the rest of his teammates, and I think he's done just that. Perfectly done. Same point in time, Shepard will find an opening pick playing up above. Catches Cyber on the hatch, so that's a Nitro Cell that will be removed from play, leaving only Vidiking with one of those C4s to stop the plant, plus 3 Toxic Babes from Souls.
Dan will fire away. There go the Babes, always toughing through it, and he gets alive with a tiny point of HP. Vidiking somehow blowing himself up.
Okay.
Well, that's a head scratcher. And Cyber off of the board. Cyber breaking 1,000 kills earlier today, just as Palu and Nesk have done. Palu was actually the last one to join. Nobody right now getting on the board for FaZe Clan, because how about a flawless start to the round? Did he get somebody right as he died? By my eyes, it looked like everybody lived on the side of VP. A pretty good start to Bank.
I'm so confused what happened with Vidiking. I'm praying we have that. I don't think we do have it on replay, to be honest, because we are B-stream. I think based on, yeah, we won't have it. Based on where he died, I imagine he tossed the nitro and it got caught on the pillar. Like he didn't move to the right far enough, and so it got caught, and then instinctually he just blew it up anyways. That's tough. That's a tough way to start your lower bracket game here up against Virtus.pro, but you know, it happens, and there's a reason why we play BO3s, and each map is 1st to 7, barring an overtime. So plenty of time to make a comeback if you're FaZe Clan. I think for VP, really clean. You know, didn't want to engage with that roam game, didn't have to rush, didn't have to play aggressive. The classic VP style where they clear the whole map, they take their time with it, they bring exactly the right util that they wanted, they deal with the enemy util. Mirrors getting popped by the Clash, the wall being opened up by the Maverick. And then they just hold F inside the site. And, you know, Soul's a little late on that Toxic Babe. Always read into that really nicely. Always has been fantastic for VP all event. And got that kit down before he went down to the smoke, which was hugely important.
VP is a very methodical team. And, I mean, you said it perfectly. This is a team that is going to clear incredibly well, line up every part of their attack, and then follow through. I said dotting the I's and crossing the T's earlier. What you said is literally the perfect companion piece to that. And that was a flawless round, by the way. Not a single member died on the side of Virtus.pro. We might be getting a peak Shepard Bank match here, Jesse, which is always wonderful to see. Unlike most teams, Shepard, he frags, baby. He frags really, really well. As a defender and an attacker, the man is able to influence the scoreboard an awful lot. He's already got 3 kills in round number 1. Most supports finish a first map with like 5, 6, 7 kills. He's already halfway there.
Cyber and Shepard exchanging pleasantries on the drones.
It's a love story.
It's like Romeo and Juliet. They're not allowed to be friends, but they'd like to be.
Cyber knocked off of the drone, and I think they've got a read on it. There it goes. His little gadget will find no more success. The pests from Cyber scattered around, but no more have taken control of the attacker's gadgetry. Again, almost the halfway mark of this round, and VP, good numbers for drones.
Bottom floor now controlled by Dan on that buck as well. Going to try to be doing some good soft breach work. Joystick deals with the castle barricades. Both castle and a zombie left unbanned on this bank matchup, so expect to see a lot of both operators up here on the top floor, including in this very round. Dan works his way up square too, aware that there's somebody playing by stock. I believe that's KDS. He peeks the angle. It could be a tight one. KDS ready to take it.
Continuing to poke away. You debating why they bring this gun anymore, Jesse?
No, hey, they're great with it.
Handy's been dropped. Cyber now will fall as well. Handy is still retrievable, and he is in the middle of the bomb site, so you could possibly go get him, but trying to isolate him with those bees. Now it's Vidiking, harassed over by Long Desk. Everybody from Virtus.pro wanting a piece of FaZe Clan, always sprinting in. Vidiking had a good read on that, still being antagonized by those bees. KDS dies. Handy still bleeding out, almost dead. That leaves just Souls and Vidiking as last two standing. Down goes Souls. Virtus.pro are so effective at flushing out these FaZe players. Vidiking with 1 kill to his name. Long range dispatches Dan. Now over towards main stairs. Are there magnets on these bullets?
No way.
Vidiking now on a single point of HP. Joystick and Shepard last two remain. Shepard on 4 kills. He's picked up 1 in this round. Only 10 seconds left, and Vidiking looked stuck for a moment. Worried about losing control of that evil eye. He sprays away, and Joystick gets the job done with the pistol. Virtus.pro sprinting off to a 2-0 start.
I think winnable in the 2v5 is they didn't have the defuse kit, but unfortunately with the cameras being hacked really early in that round, it was going to be a tough one no matter what, even though Vidiking has gotten those done before, an extremely talented young player on FaZe Clan. I think it really does come down to that opening pick, though. I mean, getting the hack off. It was Cyber, I believe, who went down, playing the Mozzie on those main stairs. Going down early, allowing the Dokkaebi to hack those cameras, gave the information to the players in sight. Also some beauty long-range shots being thrown out by Virtus.pro. You can tell how ready they are to play this late-round matchup up against FaZe Clan. It is The sun is setting here in Boston, Parker. It's starting to get late here on the East Coast, but VP don't look tired at all. They should have gotten plenty of rest after their late night last night, too.
Yeah, I mean, you got the last game yesterday. You got the last game today. And I don't know if they know their schedule for tomorrow. I don't think they're the very last game, if memory serves correctly. But tomorrow is also not a late day period.
The day starts a little bit later. If you've been tuning into our broadcast at the very start of the day.
I have been tuning in, yeah.
I hope that you have.
I've been tuning in. I have.
Well, we're starting a little bit later, and I think we're ending a little bit later tomorrow because we only have 4 games split across the A and B streams.
Ooh. Are we casting one of them?
We are casting one of them, Parker. We'll be on B stream Unwanted OXG.
That is crazy.
But be sure you check out the socials for the exact start times on those, and we'll honestly probably have them at the end of the show today as well.
I suspect as much. All jokes aside, we are on a rolling schedule, so these matches will start at different times. Tomorrow's matches will be played under the same system. So
just watch the whole day, and then it's...
Yeah, exactly. And get your drops. Make sure you type !drops. That's really important. Oh, my. Pasha walking up those spiral stairs in main lobby. Down goes KDS. KDS unable to find a kill so far. Now it's Vidiking under fire over towards Conference. Pasha has another play as he hears those logic bombs. FaZe running for their lives at this point. And he goes for a shoulder peek just to get some intel, and Pasha will give himself away. Now the wall will explode as the Fenrir goes to loop around. Vidiking watched on drone as Handy goes towards those top stairs. We are at the 1.5 minute mark, or close to, and again, great drone economy for Virtus.pro. They dominate the kill feed. Cyber, so far, the only player from FaZe on the board this round. Very few kills have come out from FaZe through this bit of action. Virtus.pro have been fully in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and now Cyber and Souls put in a really tough position, both on the main floors. They've got to make something work here because they know they're being hunted down. Positions are aware. Cyber caught on a cam. Dan clears them up. It leaves just Souls alone in the 1v4.
Souls really is a terrific player, but when Virtus.pro is on their game, they do not give you isolated 1v1s. Souls will hear one player drop inside of small office. Never mind! They try to double up, but Souls does what Souls does best. The Blackbeard of Always now planting the diffuser as a drone inside of open area catches Souls' position. And Always will now scramble into a post plant. Scramble may be the wrong word. They're quite confident about this. Always had taken some damage to his shield. None to him, the person. Souls fighting spirits inside a small office, but there's nothing there but the shadows cast by the lamps on the desk. 3 in a row by VP. FaZe Clan, timeout. When are they going to call this? They're in free fall at the moment.
No, I was just thinking the exact same thing, Parker, but Rafadel, the man behind FaZe Clan, will agree with you and I and call the tack timeout. It feels like we're not getting many trades out of FaZe Clan. These early round gunfights, when they're being taken by VP, and that's not all the time, but when they're going for this roam clear, when they're going to get into gunfights early in the round, it feels like they are being caught off guard time and time again. VP are reading FaZe like a book, always expecting what will be free, what will not be free. And they're capitalizing on that free space while fighting with guns up that non-free space. And you even saw it with that Nook play right at the end there, you know, coming up the spiral stairs on the Nook, catching off players off guard. I mean, that's going to be a huge difference maker in that early round. And it sets up your teammates perfectly for that late round in the 4v2. Obviously, nobody doubted Souls' mechanical ability in that 1v4 clutch, but it doesn't matter when there's a Blackbeard on the other side of things and you have no information as to where the other two are at. So, yeah, they need to be able to find an answer to this at some point. I think on that roam game, if they can get a little bit more aggressive on the side of FaZe Clan, we know they're capable of it. Brazil often talked about it as a more aggro region, but FaZe are usually kind of the opposite. They can be a bit more restrained. In this game against Virtus.pro, you kind of have to test them a little bit. You're letting VP get set up every single time. At some point, they've got to be a bit disruptive, and we've loaded into round number 4 with a Mozzie and a Vigil. It feels like they might be feeling the same way.
Yeah. I don't know how much the Mozzie and the Vigil were able to influence the previous round that we have seen them be used on, but, I mean, if you're worried about the information that VP is going to get, Mute, Vigil, Mozzie, those are the operators that you bring. Right?
For sure.
To your point.
And I mean, having both on the board this time is going to make a big difference too, right? Like, being able to deny all that drone economy and playing together with strong guns as well.
Problem with this lineup is that you can't bring all three, right? There's no room for a third. You can sub out the Mozzie and maybe bring a Mute. You can sub out the Vigil and maybe bring the Mute in place of him, but you're probably going to have the Vigil and Mozzie roaming. The Goyo might roam as well. You're going to keep Handy in a position where he can influence the late round down in the midst of the bomb site. Souls will likely be playing over towards blue stairs. That's where we see Warden most commonly. It's not on blue. Instead, he'll look inside a server. By my count, that means there's nobody actively watching Garage, which is perfect for a Nook to sneak in. They've got one bulletproof camera.
Oh, no. He even checked the BP.
Do they spy Pasha? They didn't know. Vidiking tries with his own eyes to face check, as now they'll stack up 2 players. That's a missed opportunity by Pasha. That should have been a kill. They will continue onwards. 3 players to shut down Pasha.
Wow.
If Pasha had a bit more confidence, I think he could have got more than one. He did botch that first engagement, which allowed Vidiking to survive longer than he needed to.
What a commitment, though. And I mean, FaZe already, all their roamers are pretty close to back to site. They lost Vidiking for that. It was a 1-for-1 trade on VP side. They didn't lose any util. They lost a Nook. Like, who cares? This execute util is still more than ready to come through. You've got flashbangs on Shepard and Joystick. You've got nades on the other 2 operators. A shield ready to get that plant down and be protected by nitros. I mean, they have all the resources in the world. Demo's track will force this smoke down the hatch most likely, unless Handy is really feeling confident about taking these swings, but I can't imagine he sticks for long, Parker.
Oh, that read as well that we got on him, but got the safety of those elevator doors and will crash down to the floor below him. No worse for wear. Get the 1 minute mark, and the job that FaZe Clan wanted to do that you talked about has been very successful. Virtus.pro seems starved of information more than previous rounds. They only have 4 drones left too. That's well below what we've seen through rounds 1, 2, and 3. Can FaZe Clan withstand this storm? Can Virtus.pro get some information now, as all of the Goyo canisters in the delay will come in? 3 toxic babes still in pocket for Handy as well, with 40 seconds left. That's perfect time to cover.
They need a clean kill onto Souls. He's still on the server stairs. Do they even know? They think he's back at the server rack, but he's still on the staircase. At the same time, his teammate Cybers able to clean up that player deep inside of the site. This is so awkward. The Goyo canister stalls for a lot of time.
Dan is there. Souls is indomitable from the previous round to now. Collecting his namesake as if he himself is the Undertaker. Handy will get the final kill. FaZe Clan used their timeout. They immediately convert it to a 1 round, and they're on the board on VP's map.
Yeah, nice play from Souls. He's often been one of those top players on the defense. He likes to sit still. He likes to hold down a site, likes to make sure that he can take one area of the map and really dominate on it. Coming into today, he was +9 KD on defense. It's always been a strong point, but he's actually been one of the weaker members of FaZe Clan so far, -17 on the offense. When that half swap hits, that's going to be where we need to see Souls turning things around a little bit. But beautifully done for this first half on those main stairs. Almost got that clutch in the previous round too. This is his element. This is his comfort zone. And finally it results in a round for FaZe Clan. Whether that was off the back of attack timeout, or Souls, or a little bit of both. That's going to be good enough for FaZe Clan to bring things back and start this comeback. 3-1 now sits the scoreline, as we've got 2 more rounds in this half. I gotta think, in that previous round, they had a lot of time, it felt like. It felt like with the Goyos being popped by the grenades, full top control of 4v4, VP were in the money, with the sole exception of not knowing where Souls was at. They dropped and they just ran straight to back server, thinking that's where he was. Maybe that drone economy, as you brought up, being a bit of an issue.
I think that really is it, right? I mean, at the 90-second mark of a round, in the first 3 rounds, VP had 7 drones still available. Then I think it was 6. Then it was back up to 7. That round, they had 4. And it's not just that they had 4. It's that there was still a Vigil on the board who was playing actively. There was Mozzie Pass denying intel over towards server and blue. Yep. So you've got an awful lot of things that you need to deal with. Gone is that first round where Dan just marched into the bomb site, ashed a black mirror, and walked out. That's not going to fly this time.
Well, top floor, it's a very different game, I'll tell you that. Castle barricades all over this window area as we see them start to get popped by the Hibana. Already, this is going to make a bit of a fortress. You put Handy in there on the Azami as well, and it's going to be really tough to find any angles into players that are in that B bomb site. means that VP are going to have to find some other way to work picks, and hey, maybe going down below is the right call.
Two big changes as well, right? Number one, try to stop them from getting information, and number two, take the fight to them. FaZe Clan looked a little toothless through those 3 rounds. They were not active in the way that they were playing these bomb sites. You saw Vidaking get a little bit courageous, take an engagement over towards Square Stairs, or at least want to. Of course, there's nobody from VP over in that area, but still, the thought is there. And if FaZe Clan can play with confidence, then they can completely turn this map around. As it stands, Virtus.pro still with quite an advantage, and this is a top floor bomb site. Despite all the FaZe Clan players going down to the middle floor, this is, at the moment, still an upstairs site, and I don't think that's going to change midway through the round, Jesse.
I mean, it's been a drone derby in the site so far, Parker. Brava drones hacking those Evil Eyes, the Twitch drones from Pasha. They've gotten so much value. This has been insane with everything they've cleared out.
And what is absent on the side of FaZe, Jesse?
There's no mute.
There's no mute, there's no Mozzie, there's no Vigil this time. You've gone back to allowing Virtus.pro to set themselves up in a way that burned you the first 3 rounds. With that said, you can have all the information in the world. 2 players from Virtus.pro go down. Now it's Pasha to watch as the diffuser goes off, and right under their noses always hops out of the window. He'll go into the post plant with the twitch of Pasha not far removed. Shepard has a longer angle over towards lobby, because when you've got 5 defenders still alive, one of those players will go towards lobby to try to cut down the players on the window. Souls winning the fight against Shepard. This is going to put Pasha always in an impossible situation. Cyber will go for the long arm defuse, but it doesn't seem like there's much information. Cyber still sticking this in. Virtus.pro have far too many bodies to stare at. They're flying out of windows, they're running at you in lobby, and all the while Cyber's sitting there going, I think I got this, guys. Don't worry about me, guys. I think I got this. And Cyber did indeed get it. I love that round for both of these teams. Virtus.pro went right back to all reliable, droning well. Those Cludge drones, stealing utility, Twitch drones, picking away at the gadgetry that had been strewn about the site by FaZe Clan. And FaZe Clan getting active, wanting to slow VP down, saying, if you try to push into the site, we're going to punish you for it. We're itching for a battle. VP throws a couple bodies at the problem. They dogpile in. The diffuser gets planted. And FaZe, because it's a 5v3 at that point, play the post plant flawlessly.
No, certainly. That was a wonderful round from FaZe Clan. And VP, you know, sometimes plant focus can be a good thing. For a lot of teams, focusing that diffuse kit is the backbone of their offense. But it can also be easy at tunnel vision. I think that really did come through from VP. Yes, they got that diffuse kit down, but losing 2 bodies immediately in that set them up for a really rough post plant. It's going to happen sometimes. That plant position as well, very susceptible to being disabled, just as we saw through that bookshelf. If you're newer to the game, haven't seen that before, definitely try to work it into your ranked games because it can be so effective in winning the post plant on the defense. And we'll load into the final round here on Bank for the first half. Always, once again, jumping on the shield, as he has been throughout this game and throughout this event. He's been loving the Blackbeard, loving the Blitz. We see it quite a bit from him, and it's not going to change in the final round on offense. Open areas, the bomb sites. There's a shield on the other side as well. Vidaking top floor on the Clash, being supported by Handy on the Azami and KDS on the Castle.
What's at stake in this matchup, Jesse, is a top 8 finish at minimum for these teams. Right now, both FaZe and Virtus.pro have made their way into the top 12. The winner of this match will play the winner of our game that is going on the A stream right now, which is the North American team of Dark Zero battling the Middle Eastern team of Team Falcons. Falcons, the last team here from MENA, still standing. Said at the top of the show that we've bid adieu to all of our APAC teams. There are only 4 regions that remain. The loser of this match, Jesse, they go home.
Uh-oh.
It's very sad. I don't know if the teams are aware yet.
Vidaking hoping that won't be him. He's watching this aggression as Virtus.pro explode to the top floor, but they need to find picks.
Pasha's looking for an opening. He'll get it in a sec! Pasha's had a couple scary encounters here, Jesse, where his aim has been much sloppier than we're used to. He still secures the kill on a KDS, who will go the entire first half without getting on the board. Shepard eliminates Cyber, who right now, along with Vidaking, are very integral utility ops. It's Souls, though, who's led the way in the killing department, and on his role, he should not be the guy leading your team. He's a support player. Gets kills in the moment when he needs them, but you should be relying on the others to do it first.
And that's right back to the fundamentals for Virtus.pro. That top floor roam clear worked so well for them in round 3. They just repeat it. The clash makes no difference. Now they've got 50 seconds, a 2-man advantage. All the hope in the world. Getting past Vidaking will be a challenge, especially with this Blackbeard. But if they can just get a crossfire, get behind that clash player, it is absolutely doable. All players from FaZe Clan sit in the site.
Top right corner of your screen, Jesse. Only 2 remain for drones. That's it. So Virtus.pro will have to play on instinct and just assume that these defenders are playing in default spots. Souls almost lighting up Vidaking. I don't know what Dan was doing there, expecting another player over towards break room door. Those 2 players from FaZe Clan, arm in arm. Handy is all by his lonesome. Hell of a time for an Adrenal Surge to come in, and the Blackbeard will take an opportunity to get the diffuser down. Handy eliminating Joystick. The advantage VP had is gone. Flashes rain in. The Clash stepping up. Diffuser not down. Always cannot go for it, and they run out of time.
Oh my god, he had to get off it right at the last second, Parker. With the Clash right next to him, that was so awkward. He had to pull off.
Very poor coverage from Virtus.pro, and it all started with Dan not expecting a second player over by break room door. That follow-up, an immediate pivot over towards Beepers, allowed FaZe Clan to recenter themselves, and Handy playing tucked into Copier, not being droned out, again because VP had lost most of their drones. Worked out perfectly for FaZe Clan. They lost all their drones very early, by the way. VP had 3 drones, Jesse.
Dude, watch this. Dude, that clip from Vidaking was ridiculous. 360 on the Clash to go back and forth. Didn't even kill the Blackbeard as he was planting. Just did enough to scare him off of it. And, I mean, that's exactly what he had to do. That was huge stepping up in the 3v5 clutch from Vidaking. Big stuff coming out from the captain.
Pretty surprised with how good the entry was for VP there. As I was starting to say when the replay went, VP was down to 3 drones with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. That means in prep phase plus 45 seconds, you've lost 7 drones. That's a lot.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, for VP, rare not to be converting those on offense. They've been the best opening pick conversion team at this entire event, winning 78% of their attacks when they get the opening gunfight. So to not see that now in round number 6, that could be a big difference maker. If this game ends 7-5 or if we go to overtime, that's going to be one that at the end of the day, VP are looking back saying, man, we should have had that. Can't be thinking that now, though. It's a new day. It's a new game. We're back on the second half.
Jesse, we should have had that. Is the rallying cry of Virtus.pro in their matchup against Raza Company Academy yesterday.
Yeah, that was a tough game, unfortunately. Another one that they expected to win. A lot of the community thought they'd walk away with it too.
I mean, Raza Company Academy is a team that almost nobody who plays or who watches this game has heard of, right?
Yep.
Unless you watch Brazil, you probably don't know much about E1. You might not know the history of these players, and you certainly wouldn't know. A lot of English-speaking viewers might not even know who Raza is, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I will say, though, a lot of the teams I talked to and a lot of the talent that worked Brazil coming into this event were high on that team. And they were saying, no, watch out. This team is going to be scary. I don't know if anybody expected them to go on to quite the explosive start. You did? You did? No, you had a bold prediction for them.
Fresh came by at the start of this event when we were in rehearsals and took all of our winner picks down, and I said Raza Company Academy. I did. It's literally on camera.
Yeah, people should go review that clip.
Admittedly, I was not being serious, but I was caught off guard, and I went with the brazen choice. They have impressed so far, and it is them and them alone as to why VP is now down in the lower bracket, fighting for their lives against another Brazilian team, as you pointed out, is a rematch from SI last year in Brazil.
On-site being opened up. FaZe Clan have done the same that VP were able to do in rounds 1 and 4, and that's clear the top floor without too much of an issue. It'll be a 5v5 execute with the wall being opened. On the defensive side, we still have 3 Toxic Babes from Always and a Nitro from Pasha.
Oh, that Goyo canister is not placed well enough. Souls manages to pull this off, and there's nothing you do.
Dude.
No smokes from Always. A Nitro cell in back pocket of Pasha. They must have thought he got off of the plant. All 10 players are still alive, and there's been 15 seconds now off of the defuse. Virtus.pro needs to step up at this point. Souls with 1 kill immediately traded out. Now it's Dan to retake, but The time so benefits FaZe Clan. It's going to be a wild scramble from Virtus.pro as none of them are in position to hop onto that defuse kit. Coverage from FaZe Clan must be good. His numbers go back to even, but you've got 3 seconds to hop on this. You are running out of time. Shepard, the only opportunity. Outdueled by Handy. This is a round going into the history books. Doesn't matter how many kills you do or don't get. The round is over. FaZe Clan are putting together quite the body of work here, Jesse. That's 4 in a row for the Brazilians, and they take the lead.
I mean, the 5v5 plant is certainly a rarity in Rainbow Six Siege, but it gets done, and it's all because they absolutely thought that Goyo canister was going to deny the plant. They thought for sure there's no way he's sticking it with the Goyo, but it wasn't hitting him. That Goyo canister did nothing as Souls was putting the defuse kit on the ground. I think it must have been misplaced coming in from the Goyo player of Dan. That is unfortunate because they surely have the utility to clear that out. There was 40 seconds or so when that defuse kit went down. 3 toxic babes in pocket, a nitro cell in pocket. That is not how that bomb site's supposed to go. And that's a rare misplay of utility from VP. Usually this is the team that, you said it, dots their T's and crosses their I's.
I did say that.
But they're not doing it here today, Parker.
Well, I mean, it's harder to do that as defenders than on attack. I mean, when you think about VP, to me, the hallmark of this team, when they went all the way back to Team Empire, is how lethal they were as attackers, doing the same thing, accounting for the micro adjustments the defenders are making, and then just playing their own game and being almost unstoppable on attack. As defenders, it's a lot more challenging.
You're not even going to mention that I said dots the T's and crosses the I's? I thought that was so quirky.
No, Jesse, because I don't know if in Cyrillic they have those characters. Why would you say that when they speak another language?
Good point.
I know how upset you are. See, now when I make jokes and you ignore the things that I say, now you know how I feel.
Joystick jumping on the Jaeger
Just
for
like
round
that.
number 8, and he's played a ton of this operator. I mean, obviously Joystick reaching his prime kind of back in the days where Jaeger used to be good. He might have forgotten that Jaeger's been nerfed a couple of times and isn't quite the same op he used to be, but he's been throwing it back. He currently leads the tournament in Jaeger plays, more than doubling the amount of picks from anybody else on this operator. I believe he accounts personally for 24% of all Jaeger picks at this event, which is absolutely ridiculous. But he's kind of been putting up good numbers with it. I mean, it's tough sometimes. VP haven't had the greatest of defensive halves in general, but of the players on defense, I mean, he's been showing up sometimes. Jaeger
is not in the top 20 most played defenders, but Wamai is. And given the way that the magnets function, and especially acting as a way to stop operators like Gridlock and Capitao, Wamai provides a little bit more value, especially given Capitao becoming a very solid flex option for a lot of teams.
Before the games today, it was 85 picks for Jaeger, 153 for Wamai, and of those 85 picks for Jaeger, I think 20 of them were just Joystick.
How do you have those numbers?
Because that's what I do.
Where did you get those numbers?
You don't need to worry about where I get my numbers.
It really sounds like you crossed your I's and dotted your T's there.
No, I speak it. No, we don't have that in English.
I already beat you to it. You can't turn that around.
Once again, the bomb site's open. It's 5v5. Can they stop a 5v5 plant this time on the side of Virtus.pro? Surely they're more diligent this time around with 3 toxic babes in pocket.
It is quite, I mean, with all the things we've been talking about, it is quite rare, Jesse, to see a team go right back to a bomb site that they got completely destroyed on.
I mean, they knew they messed up last time.
Well, yeah, that was a huge blunder.
Yeah.
You don't allow a bank bottom floor plant to go down with everybody still alive.
I go to those ADSs, by the way. Second Candela, it might have gotten zapped as well.
It did get that one, indeed. Shepard is a target dummy at this point. KDS trying to get through it. He will do so, taking some damage from that razor wire. Joystick with 1 kill. Dan traded out. Diffuser going down. KDS is losing his allies. Handy and Souls are doing their damnedest to try to keep this one close, as now the Twitch of Handy is inside of gold. Always following up to secure the kill, and now what a turnaround it's been. Instead of 5 players from FaZe in the post plant, it's just 1. KDS was successful to get into the bomb site. Souls has been superb, but he'll have his work cut out for him.
It's winnable.
There's hesitation, though, from VP. They're sitting on the diffuser. He'll be compelled to action. Souls. Hello. Souls. Hey, Souls? Hey, buddy.
That's tough.
So they were on it. Just for the next round, could we just maybe get you, retention. That'd be really helpful. I know that Cyber did it to them, but now it was your turn. That's kind of embarrassing. So if you
It was a straight reverse. It was just a return of the
it was an Uno reverse card thrust into the middle of the match.
No reaction to the plant going down in round number 7, and no reaction to the plant getting disabled in round 8. I wonder what's going to happen to the Fuse Kit in round 9. VP just far more ready for that, right? And yes, they let the plant go down, but they kill the planter after he gets off of it. All 3 Toxic Babes were tossed out and used from VP, so they used all of their utility, and they managed to find those frags as the kit was going down and a little bit afterwards as well. Obviously for Souls, tough one at the end there. Clearly just didn't hear the disable going on, and not sure exactly why, if he wasn't able to hear that. Maybe just too far away, and maybe thought he wasn't too far away. Not exactly sure. Maybe didn't know where the plant actually had gone down. Whatever the case, both teams have made some blunders today, and that's okay. Because there's a reason Siege is a best of 3, and maps are played 1st to 7. But as this game goes on, we are slowly starting to approach the end point of this first map. It is now 4-4. We're definitely past the halfway mark. This just feels like one of those games that's destined to go 3 maps in overtime.
We are definitely past the halfway mark, Jesse. That's round 6. So excellent arithmetic.
No.
I
Definitely
don't know
past.
where...
No. I'm not having this. Definitely past the halfway mark is going to be round 8, because that implies that even if we go all 15, we are definitely past the halfway mark.
I think it depends on how specific you want to be.
Well, when I say definitely, I mean 100% specific.
Okay.
If I say we're just past the halfway mark, then that can be round 6, but definitely implies that we're past round 8.
Well, we are also definitely past the halfway mark of regulation.
Sure.
There you go.
It's implied by my statement, but sure.
Open interpretation.
No.
Half of FaZe's drones have been removed in the first minute of action. Handy walking up, but that drone work, the E1D, not effective to find Kasha, who's tucked inside of an elevator. Dan with 1, and he could have had a double swing as well, as FaZe clan wanted to get in the building, wanted to take up space. Now Dan will gamble what remains of his life on a long-range engagement over towards Square. KDS decides, why not? That window might as well be a clown car, as more people emerge from it than you would have thought. Vidiking on that long-range window in lobby, miles away from the bomb site, will pick up 1 kill, and Dan's defense upstairs is very successful.
Yeah, but I mean, Vidiking, he trades Dan. He should have been holding the angle so that Dan couldn't get away with that second frag.
You tell him.
He knows.
We talked to Souls in the post round before. I don't know if Vidiking gets the comms from us piped right into his headset, but he's aware now.
He obviously just got bad timing on that cross, and Dan gets away with murder. Now it's a 2v4, and if you're FaZe clan, I don't know what the answer is supposed to be here. Soul's hunting for a pick down in the basement. There's nobody down there, nobody to find. Could rotate up main stairs and maybe catch somebody like Pasha off guard, but it's not going to be easy. Vidiking is over that direction as well, taking the 1v1. Oh, this is smart, actually. He's going to force him to drop.
He's done just that, right into the waiting arms of Souls. Now with those 4 drones remaining from FaZe clan, it's uncertain how many are active. We know 1 can be used, so not all hope is lost. This is the exact same spot that Virtus.pro had established a drone in the past. Good news, there are 2 drones now here from Vidiking, and they've got a read on the Azami, who's crouched behind the cubicle next to a soft wall.
This is beautifully done. The intel from Vidiking.
Souls is going to kill from above. Watch this. Let's watch.
This is going to be 2 free picks.
But there's only 10 seconds left. Never mind, he goes for the rotate. Why? Because he's got to get to the bomb site. It's a 2v2 now. Virtus.pro killing the defuse planter. Souls looking for another miracle. He almost clutched in this spot before, but he runs out of time. Warden's breakdancing behind the counter of break room, staff area, whatever you'd like to call it. Virtus.pro pick up another round, and they regain the lead.
You add 5 seconds to that round, and that is the cleanest 2v4 that you've watched all week. Now, unfortunately, the time gets away from them, but notice how they isolated players in the 2v4. They had amazing information thanks to the drone work, mostly off Vidiking, but the whole team, of course. They knew 1 was in elevator, so they push 1 horizontally, and 1 guy holds him dropping down to the basement. Then they know that 1 is open area, so what do? They keep an active drone on him while the other guy moves to printer window so that he can get the wall bang. I mean, that was 2 free picks, and then we saw the entry from Souls getting a 3rd one inside the site, too. It was perfectly set up from Vidiking to feed those kills to his teammate. It's unfortunate, though, they just had to go on a world tour around the map to find them, and it took so long. Because if they had, again, 5 more seconds, that would have been a beautiful way to turn a horrible situation into a freebie.
Souls had to go from the basement all the way up to the top floor and then back down and go for the vault because he didn't have time for the vertical play because they didn't know where the other 2 players were. They couldn't have dropped through the hatch inside of stock because in an open area, there would have crossfire held. Shepard was one of those positions playing by the bomb chassis, and he would have killed you the moment that you dropped through the hatch. And my analysis.
It would have been bad.
To sum up my comments, it would not have been good.
Handy gonna jump onto the 0, which is one of the rarest operators we see in Rainbow Six Siege.
We have not casted a 0.
We have not.
So far at the Six Invitational.
I know there have been some 0s played. Let me go check this one out, Parker.
Back to the numbers to tell exactly how many players have been. This is Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell.
Before today, 0 was played 10 times and had a horrible 30% win rate, which is, that might be the lowest win rate of any op at the Six Invitational. It is. So congratulations to 0.
I guess he's about as useful as his name.
That was good. That was good. Someone write that down.
Someone write, please write it down. I need accolades.
I feel like a lot of kind of casual players think that 0 is very good because cameras are great, right? It's nice seeing these cameras, but obviously it doesn't see a lot of play because, well, every op in the game gets 2 cameras for free. So information on an attacking operator's primary gadget isn't the most valuable in the current meta. Same reason why Yana is pretty much never picked.
We have not casted a Yana as well.
I lied, actually. She's the exact same win rate as 0, 30%.
It's not good.
No.
It's really not good.
But on this map, often you can make it work.
One thing that the SAM cams had changed, the Argus cams, is that they no longer immediately stick out. You can activate them on the other side, so you can keep them in a position where they're concealed from the defenders and activate them at the right time and place. We saw that Handy wasn't doing that. He was actively using them. Gain information right now, why don't you? FaZe maybe going for a swing as there goes the Lion scan. Handy dies. Joystick dies as well. That's the experiment for 0 is as good as gone. Pasha and Dan colliding with these FaZe players, and now a swing in as, my God, Pasha gets them both. Dropped from the same spot on the window where he was just looking. Vidiking has the unfortunate circumstance in front of him where he needs to rappel into the bomb site. 3 remaining players from Virtus.pro don't need to move a muscle. There's actually a castle barricade in pocket for Dan. How funny would it be if he put one down? He doesn't have time. Why? Because he's frying with the UMP in hand. Virtus.pro yet another round. And they're on map point.
I know FaZe Clan are low on potassium because players in Banana have been absolutely destroying them on these attacks. That's 2 separate rounds where one person in Banana's having a pop-off moment to close things out and completely catch FaZe Clan off guard. This time, of course, it was Pasha who made that move, found the back of the Blackbeard, and then catches Souls on a late rappel in. And that's going to be the nail in the coffin. Some energy coming out of the VP squad. That's good to see. You don't get it out of them too often. If it's going to be anybody, though, popping off, of course, it's going to be Pasha. Most fiery player on this roster, and that is to be certain. That's going to be map point on their own pick, Parker. You'd expect VP to win this map. They've been so good on Bank in the past, and of course, continuing this on such an important BO3. One more is all it'll take to lock this down.
It's looking like a really nice FaZe sandwich. FaZe is the meat of the sandwich, and Virtus.pro is the bread. Why do I say that?
Yeah, why do you say that? I was about to ask.
Because the first 3 rounds were won by Virtus.pro. Then the 4 rounds in the middle, which is 4 is bigger than 3,
Yep.
were won by FaZe Clan. And then the next 3 were won by Virtus.pro. So we got a sandwich right now. And sometimes you like to garnish a sandwich, right?
Yeah.
If Virtus.pro wins the round, I'll be a little garnish on top. Could be an olive, could be a pickle.
Wouldn't it just be more bread if VP is the bread? Surely FaZe winning the next round would be a garnish because they're like the filling. They're the non-bread elements of the sandwich.
No, because then they would be a piece of meat.
Okay. Well, I mean...
It'd be like a bacon.
Honestly, I think like a piece of salami is a better garnish than like another piece of bread.
I think my point still stands.
Okay.
It is currently a sandwich, though, in regards to the round count. 3 rounds for Virtus.pro, 4 for FaZe in the middle, 3 for VP. Point that I made. I was just trying to be a bit more theatrical.
Joystick back on his favorite operator, the Jaeger. Truly, it got good value, catching multiple Ying Candelas in the basement the last time they played this site, and he's got the setup just as he did before, so hoping to get that same value out of this operator, but of course, it didn't result in a round win last time they came to this bomb site, so they're hoping to get a little bit more done on this offense. They're hoping to be able to get some kills as they get that defuse kit on the ground. And part of that game plan might be trying to hit the back a bit. Open some more of these hatches. Apply some more of that pressure. Dropping gold. Dropping elevator. These are kind of weird surprise plays that often will catch defending teams off guard.
Nice entry by KDS as Dan did not expect the Blackbeard through that window. Was there even an opening there, or did he just blind fire through it? It was so quick that I actually missed it entirely.
It's some kind of opening, surely.
I mean, if Dan got killed to the Blackbeard just shooting at a barricade, I would be fuming at that point.
Which play from Andy starts to clear out one of those ADSs and the Zoto canister from the Tuber as well. The drone work has been excellent this game, Parker.
Drone's flying! You see how fast that thing was?
It was zooming.
So, Handy looks like he got 1 gadget with the first Twitch drone, 2 gadgets with the second. That's not great value. I mean, obviously...
2 with the first, because he got the ADS and the Zoto.
Did he get the Zoto?
I thought so.
That's not terrible.
No.
Typically, you want to get more than that. A drop will come in over towards red. Vidiking, the very first one. Candelas go off. Virtus.pro not moving a muscle.
Hello?
They've got a read on one. Joystick will have to fight his way out of this position. He sees the Blackbeard, but they double up. 1 by elevator, 1 by stairs. Now 1 inside of red. As down goes Souls, firing back, always attempting to put up a good effort. But now it's always to die to KDS, and I guess FaZe Clan are the garnish on top of the sandwich. So we will not see VP take it just yet. We will need 1 more round of regulation. All 12 needed. You speculated earlier in this map. It feels like it's going to be a late one, and I agree with you.
Yeah, beauty push coming out from phase 2, though. I mean, going through the back hatches, dropping through gold, dropping through elevator, that's what I said they might have to do to add some spice to this matchup, and that's exactly what worked for FaZe Clan. This swing from Dan, to be a little critical, yeah, he was firing it early, but there was a small sight line. Maybe Dan extending like that wasn't the smartest of plays, of course. Was just trying to check out what was going on in server. Got the intel that there was 1 guy there, but the brunt of that push all coming in through the backside. The gold hatch, so important as Vidiking dropped down with the defuse kit. They were able to rack up the kills following that pickup. The Blackbeard coming down elevator as well. Really that multi-dimensional push from FaZe Clan. It's going to be enough to overwhelm Virtus.pro. Roll that man advantage into a round win. Now they're within striking distance. We said that overtime is looking likely. We said that these two teams, these two titans of the game, deserved it. And of course, this is, as we said, 2 top 3 teams from the last Six Invitational. It would be a shame not to get a long, drawn-out match between these 2 teams. 1 round will determine if we head there or if Virtus.pro will take their own pick 7-5.
Depending on the siege that's being played, there are times where you approach a match and you're okay with it being a 2-0. It depends on the teams playing. It depends on the game. It depends on the map. So there are times where you're midway through a 2-0 and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, I don't think we need a third of this.
Sure.
And I'm not talking as a caster. I'm talking specifically from a gameplay perspective. As casters, we always want the best story, and that usually means we are hungry for a third map.
Yes.
So far through much of SI, I've been very happy with the amount of third maps we have received. This is one of those games, Jesse, where I will be upset based on storyline and the gameplay up to this point if we only get 2. I want to end this on Clubhouse. I want to end it on Clubhouse specifically for one reason and one reason alone. One of the most historic matches played at the Raleigh Major was between the old FaZe Clan and Team Empire. And Clubhouse was known as Dubhouse, the best map for Team Empire, the spiritual successor to Virtus.pro. FaZe Clan had never played that map on an international stage, and not only did they pull it out of nowhere, they dominated Team Empire and held them to a single round. FaZe Clan did ultimately end up losing the matchup, but it is one of the most memorable clubhouses we ever had. The saga between these 2 teams will continue onwards, but what a map for this to end on at this event.
Throwback. FaZe Clan have played Clubhouse a few times since that event. Be more prepped for it this time around. Both these teams have shown quite a few VODs at this event as they've had to make that run through the lower bracket. Another slow one as it burns on the basements.
Shepard, there's nobody there.
Not currently, but you never know when a rotation might be made. But it's going to be a default server plan. As we've seen time and time again, the last round being the sole exception, Souls wants to get this defuse kit down, and he wants to try to dodge those nitro cells and toxic babes.
The first babe will go off. Souls does not have the HP to suffer through it, so this dive, this dance, this rhythm that we see between these teams will continue. No damage at the moment has been done to Virtus.pro. Honestly, it seems like Souls is the only player on FaZe Clan at this point. Where is the supporting coverage? Cyber is pointed, staring at the stairs, waiting for a flank. They're controlling the hatches in open area, but they gotta get more active.
Just waiting for those toxic babes, and they're gone now.
Dance slaughters two of them. Souls and KDS will die. The drop through the hatch in the midst of the site will occur, always with a pick. As Vidiking drops, it's Cyber in a 1v5. It started with a flawless round. It won't end with one, but it's as close as you can get. Cyber gets one kill on the way out, but Virtus.pro says, thanks for the memories. 7-5 the scoreline on Bank, and VP will take a 1-0 lead.
Strong start, hunting for revenge against the team that knocked them to lowers last time around. Virtus.pro take their own map pick, and didn't always look dominant, didn't always look easy. There was some midpoint in that game that things were looking like they would slip the way of FaZe Clan, but in the end, some big movement on the defense was able to pull things back, and Virtus.pro looking clean on their map pick.
And FaZe Clan are not usually upset when they lose a map, but those were some long faces. I think this was one, Jesse, that they thought was winnable. Alas, it did not come to that. A great effort from both teams, and all 12 were needed, but nothing more. VP will now look towards map number 2, up 1-0. We'll proto break and we'll come right back.
Keep an eye out for contact.
Available now.
Ouais, choc-les. Ouais, choc-les. Ouais, choc-les, choc-les, choc-les. Ouais, voilà ce qu'ils me disent. Les entends parler et ils médisent. J'arrête que pour rappeler la mise. Petit pas sur la piste. Et le succès, je l'ai pisté. Disent que la place du premier. Fais monter la côté. Sur moi, tu mises gros. Tu connais déjà l'équipe. Ça criera au complot. Je prends le double, on est quitté. Je fais la magie des chiffres. La somme, je la triple. La concurrence, la dribble. Et le stade est en délire. Ça fait choquer. J'arrive pour tous les choquer. Toute la foule, elle est choquée. J'espère que t'es accroché. Gauche, droite, esquive rageux. Coach m'a rajouté du temps de jeu. Dans l'action, ouais, je me sens en feu. Je suis on fire. Je fais la différence au compteur. Money time, ça shoot sur le buzzer. Je suis on fire. Choqué, j'arrive pour tous les choquer. Toute la foule, elle est choquée. J'espère que t'es accroché. Choqué, j'arrive pour tous les choquer. Toute la foule, elle est choquée. J'espère que t'es accroché.
There are many great players who are not champions, who have never lifted the hammer, who might never lift the hammer. And it's not because they aren't good enough, they just might not put in what it requires to really get there. Because they are the goods and not the greats.
There is not 1 hour of the day where your mind can be off siege. You have to sacrifice everything to win.
If you were to win any event and call it quits, it would probably be the Six Invitational.
Chegar no topo uma vez, então assim foi um momento de muita emoção.
The Invitational is, the kind of the final checkpoint, the final test. It meant the world to me.
History will be made here because for the first time on home soil, a Brazilian team will win a world championship.
The only thing that matters is the 4 guys next to you, your coach, and the screen in front of you.
No one ever really just goes and wins. You have to go through the pain, the hardships.
FaZe are exploding!
You have to go all in. That's it.
Quem perdeu foi nós tudo ali. E a gente que vai virar isso aqui agora.
Então você tem que confiar muito no seu time.
Não vamos desistir, não vamos desistir.
When you truly want to become the best, you truly have to believe that you are, because you have to play it 100%.
Players' feedback is everywhere on Siege, from reports, survey analysis, meetings, playtests, workshop studies, watching streams and videos, designing comms, reading thousands of comments a week, answering DMs. It's insane. So players do have a fancy seat at the table, no question. They just have different opinions. Sometimes it's a little puzzling, but that's all good. The Siege ID critical player base is a driving force.
I'm listening, and we're all taking in so much of your positives and your concerns and trying to make the game just a better place for everyone.
You know, I'm a player myself, so I also have my own opinions, but I also think it's nice to have a good, well-rounded opinion of the sentiments that come out of the community, and it really helps me better my feedback. So when I'm in play sessions for balancing or new operators, I can not only give my own personal feedback, but try my best to bring the community into that play session.
These players are the best players basically in the game right now.
So having their feedback introduced into our decision making, I think it's really crucial to have. So it's definitely why this workshop is so important.
The workshop is important for me because I like to see kind of the future that the devs want to bring the game to and how we can help bring that into a good space for everyone.
I love the workshops because I think it gives you a real opportunity to see like why things are being done, kind of what the thought process was, the steps behind things. I just love seeing other people have passion for the same game.
We play the game 24/7, practice and understand what can be a little bit too strong or maybe a little bit too weak, so being able to help is a massive thing.
I got to give it to these guys. The dev team, you guys have really been hitting it, man. Like the new...
Map 1 was picked by Virtus.pro, and while there were some scary moments, especially in the middle of this map, they ended up persevering and winning in the end. But if you followed VP in this tournament so far, Jesse, you know that no win comes easy. This was their map. It still took all 12 rounds, and there were a couple times where, it didn't look like it was going to go their way.
Certainly not, but I mean, we had some heroics. This play from Dan up towards Banana was huge. We saw another big play in Banana from Pasha, so we saw some big plays from VP, which really helped close things out. Some shenanigans, you could say, down on the bottom floor from both teams when it came to working with that defuse kit, but at the end of the day, it was enough for Virtus.pro to hold on to their pick. Now we're going to swap the script a little bit, though, Parker. Now we move to a map that was hand-selected by FaZe Clan to make things a little bit more difficult. And Skyscraper is going to be tough. We saw some good players on FaZe Clan, Souls in particular, in map number 1, had some great clutches, some great moments, and some great potential clutches as well. If they can continue that momentum with some big pop-off late rounds like they did at the start of this map, they could be off to a really strong second game here and, of course, force that club to finish things.
I really wish I could listen in to what they're saying because it'll be enlightening, but I don't speak Portuguese.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we've got a game here where both teams are not English-speaking teams, so we don't get insights in this one.
A couple players on the side of FaZe Clan speak English. Everybody except for Always speaks fluent English on the side of Virtus.pro. If you see any of them at an event, you try to speak English to them, and they say no English. They're lying to you, by the way. I've referenced this a couple times before. Back when 6 on 6, the podcast that we did, Canadian and I, was going strong, after the whole drama with Team Empire.
Are you no longer going strong?
We haven't done it in a while. Anyway. So you got Fresh and Friends now. Go watch that.
Okay.
We kept wanting to get this Team Empire team on the show, and every single time I'd go to an event and I'd have a fluent conversation with Shepard, and then I'd say, so like, you're okay to come on 6 on 6, and he'd just give me a blank stare and go, no English. And I'd be like, I know you speak it.
Yeah.
We are talking to it right now. There was one time we were at the bar, I think it was the SI that we had in Stockholm, and he starts talking to me fully in English. And I was like, wait, you speak English? And he just stared at me and he just walked away. And I was like, okay, well, that's terrific. I guess you, you know. Shepard is a very big Lynx enjoyer, by the way. Shepard is very high on Lynx as a caster. And I will take some time. Lynx, I don't know if you're watching Virtus.pro because I know you like them as a team. I know that you did not make this event. We are sad that you are not here. We miss you. We will see you hopefully soon. And we're hoping that you just have a good time with these games.
Lynx has you muted, bro. Let's be real.
I know. I'm not under any illusions here.
You are not. A stream has volume. Let's be honest with ourselves. They are not listening to you and I yap on the broadcast, B stream was.
Lynx sent me a beautiful picture of a chopped cheese that was devoured earlier today. It made me very hungry, and I rewarded myself by eating the catering.
I often get pictures of Lynx's cat sent straight to my phone. Yes, Bobo, which is excellent, and I really appreciate that.
Bobo's a real rapscallion.
Yes, I'm well aware.
That cat is a menace. No Spawny, though.
No Spawny. Spawny's not much of a menace, I'll be honest. She's a lounger. FaZe Clan are going to have to not be loungers in map number 2 because they are up against the brink. Elimination looms heavy over their head. Both of these teams would be extremely disappointed finishing outside of the top 8 after the tournament they had last year and after the year that both of them have had. I mean, they haven't always had high points. FaZe Clan, I think, towards the end of the year, maybe had some games they wanted to take back. Virtus.pro, of course, missing Stage 1's major entirely, not even going to Manchester, I know is a sore spot, but both have had really successful seasons when you look at it as a whole. And to fall so short at the biggest events is honestly unfortunate. They've had to come up to one another and face in a manner like this, but I mean, it's going to happen eventually, and so we'll enjoy the game whenever we get it. It's also nice sometimes to see some fresh faces, some newer teams up in the top 8, top 6 that makes main stage, but I know for both these teams, they're going to have a lot of fans that'll be hurting if they don't make it all the way.
We are losing huge teams here in this second phase of the Six Invitational. We will go from 16 teams at the start of the day down to 8. You were not here for the very first map. We ran through the teams that we've already said goodbye to. Just today alone, we said goodbye to W7M. We said goodbye to Team Liquid. We said goodbye to Shopify Rebellion. We said goodbye to M80. We said goodbye to G2. And we said goodbye to KAG Osaka, a.k.a. Cyclops. 2 more teams will go home. Right now, it's FaZe Clan on the wrong side of a 1-0 scoreline favoring Virtus.pro. And over on A-Stream, Dark Zero and Falcons are fighting. And I believe they've already finished their first map, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. You can go check yourself.
All elimination games, the winner of this plays the winner of DZ Falcons tomorrow in the lower bracket. That'll be one to watch out for. But for now, as the person who controls when the game starts, I've decided it's time to go forward with it. Skyscraper, the map choice of FaZe Clan, is coming up next. The community leaning more towards the map of 1 victors. That is to be expected. But I think most people who believed in FaZe Clan initially knew that this one would take all 3 maps. So it's not a surprise to be heading to their map pick. This is a must-win as we load into the operator ban phase. It'll be a Monty from Virtus.pro that gets banned out first, just like on Bank, where they wanted to ban out those shields. This is very, very typical. They perma-ban Monty, and a zombie would be the previous ban, or the next ban from Virtus.pro.
Whoa!
FaZe with a Sens ban. I don't believe the first Sens ban that we've had at this event, but a very rare ban to see through in Rainbow Six Siege. One of those operators that got buffed very recently, and honestly, the fact that Warden can no longer see through those Sens walls is massive to upping the ban rate and the pick rate as well of Sens. So nice to see that coming through. VP, no surprises. You know him. You love him. It's Monty, a zombie ban on Skyscraper. Let's get things underway. Talk about Tuberau quickly as well from FaZe Clan being removed. This is the same operator they banned in their last play on Skyscraper and their only other game that they played at the Six Invitational, taking it out in their 7-3 loss against Furia.
This is the 3rd Sens ban, according to the official event statistics.
Wonderful.
Operators that have been banned 1 to 2 times are Ram, Nook, Twitch, Ace. Saw an Ace ban.
He did?
Hibana, Flores, Nomad, Thermite, and Sens. There you go. Elite company at the bottom. There have been a lot of defenders that have been banned one time. I'm not going to run through all of them because there's 8 of them.
And you can't, remember that many names.
I can't count that high. You know I can't count that high.
Fair enough.
Thank you. It's too much for me. I'm like Valve. I get to 2 and I don't know where to go next. 1, 2. Ah, shoot. There's no more numbers. Where do I go? Skyscraper is going to play out very differently from what we saw on Bank. In fact, all 3 of these maps have major stylistic differences. Bank is a huge map that enables a lot of roaming, but can be played quite conservatively, as we saw from honestly both of these teams. Skyscraper is a bit more condensed, and it's a lot harder to rotate around on because it's easy to hold the stairs and tight angles back to the bomb sites, but there is an unpredictability factor on both Bank and Skyscraper that makes them a little bit more comparable than you'd think.
Virtus.pro starting on the defense, you're going to expect them to win on these top floor bomb sites. They have yet to lose a top floor defense on Skyscraper since the tournament started, playing this map just once earlier at SI. That was up against W7M in a 7-3 domination earlier on. So if they can repeat a success like that, of course, they'll be continuing on through the tournament. It's going to be an extension from Dan over here inside of Exhibition. He's got Joystick not too far behind him as well. The Candelas start to push him back, but hasn't gotten into a direct gunfight. Watch out for Pasha 2 playing by Minibar, as they are refusing to give up this side of the map. FaZe Clan at a minute 30 need to start making some decisions. Are we really going to commit to taking these gunfights, to clearing up these players? Well, at least find Joystick.
Nice start for FaZe Clan to draw first blood in round number 1. It was really even between these teams on Bank, to the point where I think VP had the advantage by a single round, which would be 7-5 technically. But, I mean, first blood was not a huge factor in that matchup. Now it's Pasha with a kill, and he's on the run inside of Terrace over towards Drum to get out of harm's way. Down goes Always as FaZe Clan's right now roam clear, proving to be much more successful than an awful lot of their attacks on Bank.
Yeah, this has been clean so far. You can tell this is their pick. Not an easy map to go for the roam clears, but they've done it pretty successfully. Just 3 players remain on Virtus.pro. They're all back towards the site, but Pasha a little bit aggressive. I say that. Dan down below, too. Finds a freebie as Handy crouch walks his way right into his crosshair, and Pasha missed by these bees.
Give him confidence. Pasha almost missing. He's aiming above their head. I don't know if he thinks that the models have shrunk or not. Now it's Souls in a clutch or kick scenario. He was in 3 of these exact same positions on Bank, and, well, his way down backstairs will be cut off for the next 20 seconds. That would have left him with 10 seconds on the clock. So he has to go around. Does not have access to that diffuser, and the 3 players from BP still upright are going to make his life living hell. He'll go for a kitchen drop and is immediately punished by Dan. Virtus.pro 6 rounds away from a victory, but this is, as you've pointed out time and time again, the most defender-sided map. This is a long, long road for FaZe Clan.
Even still, though, that's one of those rounds that was looking quite winnable from FaZe with that 4v3 advantage. The big issue there was the information. You talked about drone economy a lot on Bank, and it was a real boogeyman for FaZe Clan in this matchup. You can see through the majority of this round, they had just 1 drone. I'm trying to find when they lost that 9th drone, and it was very far back in this round. It was about the minute 30, minute 20 mark when they went down to just a single drone left alive. And you saw that lack of information. The Handy crouch walking through restaurant, shot in the back by Dan, dropped the defuse kit. That meant that VP didn't have to hold the site anymore. They could drop down through the staircase, and of course through the drop down as well, to hold on to that defuse kit instead, which put them into an even more powerful position in the 3vx. Played that expertly well, and then of course, just unfortunately the missed Grim play coming through too, allowing another freebie for Virtus.pro. Pasha was able to collect that one. So a lack of information punishing FaZe Clan despite getting that man advantage over on the roam clear. And that's the issue with Skyscraper, right? The early round is so punishing because even if you walk away with that advantage, if you don't have a ton of resources left for the execute, you're still going to be out of luck.
if you're playing on Skyscraper, it's got to mean that you have some level of understanding and proficiency on this map. I say that because Skyscraper is the least played of the 9 maps at the Six Invitational. In fact, the next closest map is Border, and it's been played over twice as many rounds as Skyscraper has. Skyscraper's been played on 62 rounds. Border's next at 138. Skyscraper is the most defender-sided map, 58% of all rounds won by the defenders, so you're in a very good shape if you're going to try to defend this bomb site and this map in particular. Virtus.pro will use that to their advantage.
Dan under a lot of pressure. He's facing a ton of different angles. KDS on the rappel upside down. Another one standing outside this breach. Dragon Window's got a player too. Here comes the swing, but always hits the shot. Nicely done.
That looks so effortless. KDS almost getting one. He was at the bottom of the standings back in map number 1. A good performance from him would be quite the boost, but he's not usually on that role where he needs to be very strong. There's a Frost, by the way. You want to take a look down there, Handy. Maybe you'll see it. He's going to have that debuff, and he's caught as Shepard, Always, and Joystick all get on the board. Pasha, the only player standing that will have no kills up to this point. Do they give it to him and get a belated team ace, given that Dan is dead? While he was dead, though, his Frost Mat was the thing that was on the ground, Jesse, and it was mighty instrumental in slowing down FaZe Clan. Always who gets the kill. 3K from Always in that round. Excellently played by VP. They pick up a second, and those early stumbles that were present on Bank seem to be repeating themselves here on Skyscraper.
Yeah, some beautiful shots from Always in that round. Of course, playing in a tough position. He had a lot of pressure down onto him, but was able to fight his way out of it. FaZe Clan, a little bit less successful than the first round on Skyscraper, where they just couldn't quite enter the building. They didn't go for the roam clear. They wanted to go direct, and that single panel at the top of house stairs was really their primary focus, and it never went anywhere. The Frost Mat thing didn't help either. Obviously didn't quite result in the kill, but eventually was punished as that last player tried to jump out the building, so didn't quite go their way. It's a bad start if you're a FaZe Clan fan, but I will remind the viewers at home that Virtus.pro are undefeated on defending that top floor through the Six Invitational. That'll be their 6th round that they play on the top floor defense. Now they'll go down to Barbecue Kitchen. And unlike the top floor defenses, Virtus.pro have yet to win even a single bottom floor defense. This will be their 3rd attempt since SI started.
Those 2 upstairs bomb sites lead the way in pick rates on Skyscraper, and they, believe it or not, are not both defender-sided, Jesse. T Karaoke actually has a negative rate for the defenders. It is a positive win rate for the attackers. Office and Exhibition, though, is on the other side of the coin. And you could go so far as to say that Office and Exhibition is the most defender-sided map that has more than 15 plays on it. It's been played 17 times and has been won by the defenders 76% of the time. That is really quite the number. Kitchen and Barbecue is the 3rd bomb site. It's the tertiary site. You don't often see Master and Bathroom. It's only been played 1 time so far. And this Kitchen Barbecue bomb site, Jesse, is also defender favored. Virtus.pro, based on the numbers alone, are in pretty good shape to start off 3-0, just as they did on Bank.
Shepard, the lone anchor, is a 4-man roam, tries to hold the top floor from VP. See him here now. Won't be pressured by FaZe Clan until very late in the round, most likely. He's going to be on cams to support his teammates, and Pasha will be on the Clash. As we see from above, he's going to be holding down Drum and hoping to influence some of his teammates to go for those swings around him and make that action happen. I said how VP are not as comfortable holding that bottom floor. Well, why don't you just hold the top floor instead? On Barbecue Kitchen, that can be just as effective. Shepard actually, I said he was going to sit on site all round, but he's starting to make a bit of a move. Keep an eye on that going late into the round.
Another Frost
Again?
Mat. He was obscured, admittedly, by the F-Naught, so he did not know that somebody was there. Always swinging out. Dan with 1 kill, always traded out immediately, as it seems like FaZe want to reposition very fast. They're looking for an opening onto the backside of the Clash. Down goes Joystick, as finally FaZe Clan are able to sink their teeth into this Virtus.pro defense. On the flank, though, is Shepard. Is there a set of eyes from FaZe staring in this direction, or can Shepard have a disproportionate impact on the ebb and flow of this round? Cyber is on a drone, completely oblivious. Shepard with 1 kill because that Dan dies, and now even more on the Clash. and Shepard as the last two standing for Virtus.pro.
Shepard's got to get back to site, surely. He is still top floor, but Posh is in a world of hurt. Shepard says, I want to keep going. This is uncharacteristic from the support player of VP, but he's just not done.
He's fearless, and he might get rewarded for it. Down goes the Grim of KDS. Two more players in close proximity. One now down below Handy, standing sentinel from above. Pasha in a 1v1 against Souls. Pasha taking some damage. He'll go for broke. Harassed by those bees, swung on, and it's Handy to win the duel. He did have the information, and some would say a much better gun. A 3-0 start will not happen for Virtus.pro, but they're going to take a 2-1. They don't win that bottom floor bomb site. You said it, Jesse. They don't need to go to it again, as now these top floor sites will open back up.
And Shepard, empowered by the fact that there was a Valkyrie camera inside of Geisha that was giving him those yellow pings, that's why he chose to stick around. You don't see Shepard going for aggressive moves very often, but when he does, he tries to get good value out of it. Fortunately, the rest of his team just crumbled on that top floor. I mean, the collapse from FaZe Clan was beautiful. So, I liked the flank from Shepard, and we really don't see it too often. Didn't amount to a round win. FaZe Clan, in the end, holding strong on their offense of that bottom floor. So it's a 2-1 first quarter split. And VP are going to look to repeat that and go up at least 4-1 here on these next couple of top floor bomb sites. Feels like a standard clear through from FaZe Clan on that last round too. I mean, not having any problems with the clash, finding good angles in and around despite the fact they were walking into a couple of Frost mats now. And the Frost main himself will swap off one trap operator straight onto another. Dan goes to Capcan.
I think Shepard's flank really did paper over a lot of defense issues from Virtus.pro. He was that lone bright spot, and strategically they padded the area inside of Dragon, moving over towards T and Karaoke upstairs. Didn't really do much with it, though. And maybe it's just one of those historical things where, we never win the bottom floor bomb site. You know what? If we can take a 4-2 half, that's excellent.
He got good value out of it. The problem is the whole team died, right? So you can only do so much.
That Dan uses this reticle. Drives me insane.
Yeah, VP.
Derisively referred to as the Cybertruck site.
One of your favorite vehicles.
It's so ugly.
We just walked past the Cybertruck actually the other night, and you were like, it's kind of cool. You were like, I might buy one, personally.
None of those things escaped my mouth.
You were like, I own 2 already, but 3rd.
Wow. I didn't know Blast paid me that well. Dan sustaining some damage now with that cursed reticle on his gun, and it seems like everybody on the side of VP is aiming a little bit above their targets. Dan just had some issues with the drone, and Pasha's eliminated by Cyber, who is unrelenting in his approach towards these VP players. Halfway point of the round, and FaZe Clan have found first blood.
You might just be happy with that if you're VP, to be honest. You've delayed 90 seconds. It's still a 4v5. This is a very defendable bomb site for Virtus.pro, so they can sit on this. And the util's a little scary, but only one Candela left in the pocket of Handy. Some bees still from KDS, but those weren't too effective last time. No more flashes from Vidaking. No more nades. Only one flashbang on Souls. They did have to use a lot of resources and 2 drones as well. So VP leave not with a man advantage, but after wasting a lot of the util in the pockets of FaZe.
Just wait out the time at this point. Joystick will go down below as KDS eliminates always. The situation for Virtus.pro will go from bad to worse as KDS is taking no prisoners. He's eliminating everybody inside of the server. He heard us talking about his performance on Bank, and now all they need to do is stop Dan as he ascends those back stairs. Down goes Vidaking. Diffuser in the hands of Souls. FaZe Clan will successfully get the objective down, and Dan will have to contend with 4 Brazilians. Is that KDS to get the kill again? My God. A 4K as FaZe Clan will tie things up. 2 rounds on attack already on Skyscraper. That's a great position to be in.
KDS, wonderful work in the 4th round of Skyscraper. The single best Brazilian player at the Montreal Major, by the way, despite losing the event to a Brazilian team. His individual statistics topped all of the players on that championship winning roster that have Fortunately struggled here at the Six Invitational, but KDS was phenomenal at their last event. Despite that fact, he entered this game with a negative KDR, -6 on the tournament so far. But of course, he can step up in the biggest moments, and we saw that here again for FaZe. Found that gap over towards Geisha and exploited it. Managed to make the moves and capitalize on all of that space that he was getting for himself. They break through that top floor that has been unbeatable for Virtus.pro, and they will force them over to Office Exhibition. I imagine we'll see a repeat of T-Karaoke round 6 when we get to it, but for now, the top floor remains the home of VP. Shutting down KDS needs to be a top priority for round 5.
Yeah. I don't know how forward he will be, though, in this execute on that Maverick. I mean, his job will be to poke holes into Geisha and open up a greater way into the map. And never mind, Geisha's already open, so KDS did an excellent job. Superb work.
You're that guy in the rank stack who calls mine after somebody gets a TK on the other team.
That is so painfully accurate, and it really hurts when you're playing and somebody disconnects and you're like, oh, I got my kill.
Yeah.
Let me have my frags in peace, man. Take what I can get. It's hard out here. I got 2 Cybertrucks.
VP on this setup, really giving up Geisha in this side of the map. You can tell with their barricades that they have created kind of a line through this map where they want to hold on to Drum, they want to hold on to Dragon, but no farther. They will not be playing inside of T or Karaoke, but they probably have some sight lines. 1 barricade, 2 barricades, they break through them. It's a 3rd barricade that follows up Handy. He shoots this one as he knows it would be a little dumb to punch it. Here comes the Mav playing now. Does he have any teammates with him to shoot this? I don't think he does. But after some aggression.
Typically, you want to open that up and have somebody there to deal with it. Joystick controlling Carbine of Jaeger so effectively. Down goes Handy. KDS still searching for a kill. He was terrific in the previous round. Souls had his great moments on Bank, but has been relatively quiet so far here. Down goes KDS. Again to Joystick inside a Drum. Everything is a Drum, including Joystick, but they just can't beat him, baby. Always gets taken down by Vidiking as FaZe Clan are keeping these numbers very, very close. Now Cyber sustaining some damage inside the site. It's all up to Dan. The supporting cast so effective, and Dan is finished off by Souls. FaZe Clan trading back very effectively in that round.
It's honestly a great call from FaZe Clan, making the decision that, hey, what if we just hit the site? They dealt so much of their time with Joystick. He did so much damage to them playing inside a Drum, as you mentioned, some beauty shots being hit by the Cyborg. But at the end of the day, somebody on FaZe Clan made the call. I guess it was Vidiking who said, guys, let's just go hit site. We don't need to mess with Joystick. The other 2 players went over to the bomb site, managed to clean up on those anchors. Shepard went down. Eventually, Joystick fell too. It was a good refocus halfway through that push from FaZe Clan where they just said, you know what, we don't need to be so concerned about this. Let's not feed all 5 bodies to this guy and let him send another 50 pounds out from Fresh. Instead, let's just focus that site. You know, let's make it simple.
But for people who don't know, by the way, when Jesse says 50 pounds, he's not referring to weight.
No, that is what the British call money.
Yes.
Because they're goofy.
Pound sterling. Jack is donating 50 Great Britain pounds for every ace that we see, and I think we're up to 12 at this point.
There's
maybe
been so many aces this event.
There were back-to-back aces in the Falcons match earlier today.
Yes.
And obviously Fresh can't cover all of it, so we in our talent group chat have been messaging him, and I just remember seeing, Jack, there's an ace, and he's like, oh, who was it? And then 3 minutes later, Jack, you're never going to believe this.
Yeah.
Jack just said, I'm aware. It's for a good cause, though. He's donating to mental health programs, if memory serves correctly. People should not have to suffer in silence. In a perfect world, those support systems would be fully funded, but we do not live in a perfect world. So kudos to Jack for taking an opportunity to highlight mental health issues while also celebrating a player in this game getting a monumental achievement, which is an ace, all 5 kills.
It's a win-win.
Win-win-win. It's when you win, I win, and we all win.
Virtus.pro desperately need a win in round 6 because they are otherwise losing their defensive half on Skyscraper, something that should never be happening on such a defender-sided map. FaZe Clan posted outside the building. It is Joystick back in his regular post. Hit some beauty shots. The exact same setup, by the way, from VP. They looked at that last round and thought, we did nothing wrong. We're just going to run it back. This time we're going to win our shots, and we're going to walk away with the victory. Dan's been setting up with that shield over by Dragon. Joystick still in drum. That crossfire onto the hallway is going to be the main power position that FaZe Clan need to address. If this goes the way of VP, they'll be put in another difficult situation where they got to decide, do we just go for sight?
Nice shot on the KDS to try and keep this close. It was a 3-3 scoreline on Bank. Joystick doing his damnedest to ensure it is repeated, but I fear at this point the numbers do not benefit Virtus.pro. If you're playing on the most defender side of the map, you got to take at least 3 rounds. 4 is the goal. 3 is as best you're going to get, and right now 3 looks unobtainable for Virtus.pro as they've lost 2 players in very quick order. Kill King though.
And Dan's still in a really powerful position too, playing on this shield. He is refusing to leave as he sits on his post. It's going to prompt some more rotations from FaZe Clan. Not as aggressive as last time, but slowly working their way around the bomb site. Handy goes over towards the exhibition window. Pasha in sight might need to respond to that at some point. If he hears him jump in, the Candelas would make that awkward.
Completely blind for Pasha, so he'll stop firing. Why not? Why give yourself away at that point? Cyber's there for backup as the Gumine is hit by Souls. Damage is being done. Dan shooting away, always losing that engagement, and Handy and Souls have both been dropped. Things were going so well for FaZe, but Virtus.pro just holds on and fires back. They land their shots first. They get the round, and Jesse, it's 3-3.
It's 3-3. They get the bare minimum on the side of Virtus.pro, and I think a lot of that has to go into Pasha. Playing just inside of Office, they tossed all of their utility at him. Those Candelas were rolling one after another, and did he let up? Not once. Holding down the bomb site no matter what. Wasn't going for aggressive swings. He was full blind. How could he? But he stayed tucked in behind that counter and made sure he did not give up the space. And was rewarded with a Gumine kill right at the end of the round anyways. So still got his one. That was perfect play coming out from BP. Joystick not as successful in the roam. He tried to go 2 for 2, the back-to-back 2K from the same position. Couldn't quite get it done. But with Dan not letting go of Dragon, and of course Pasha not letting go of Office, FaZe Clan just were not able to find an opening, and that's going to happen sometimes on Sky. The fact that they even got 3 attacks should be thought of as a victory for FaZe Clan. VP will need to dig deep. Now, I've got to say, VP so far at this event have actually been quite successful on Skyscraper when they've been on the offense. When they played this map against W7M just a few days ago, they won 3 out of their 4 offense rounds. They started off with a great 4-2 split on defense and then won 3 of the 4 attacking rounds that they had to pull off. So this team knows what it takes to attack onto the most defender-sided map. Of course, at the end of the day, FaZe Clan are not the same team as W7M, and this will be a bit harder.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, because sometimes people think like, oh, maybe it's the same team. They just all swapped jerseys and logos and got 2 shots at the tournament, but that's actually not what happened here.
Lots of plastic surgery, completely different names and identities. They're actually all in witness protection. I've said too much. Their cover is blown.
Not again.
It's the first time. Don't say anything. Don't blow the cover. Okay. EMP will go off, and they have missed that Electric Claw. They missed it again.
Did the same spot?
It sure looked like it. Yeah, where? Let's take a look. Is it over to the right?
Might be on the roof somewhere, too.
Oh.
Sneaky. Sneaky in the pot.
Very good.
Yeah. And that's why, honestly, pocket EMPs kind of suck sometimes. If you are up against Electric Claw, oh boy, and you don't have an IQ, that's tough.
KDS with the pistol out. How on earth does he win that duel? Pasha ends up getting the kill before traded back immediately. Joystick on that Finka. Russian player, Russian op. Why not? He's got 2 adrenal surges. That won't do much for Pasha, who's in the grave. But Virtus.pro with the advantage right now as Cyber and Souls are both gone.
A rare double shield play, by the way. Stunted for the meantime, but they've still got Dan up on the Blackbeard.
Honestly, so bizarre seeing Virtus.pro on shields. It's just, it's so striking.
Welcome to the new era.
I know. Down the electrical.
There's 2 there. Wow.
There was.
That's
So
tough.
They might have actually got the first one. They might not have accounted for the one that was inside of the pond. 4v3 now, just a little bit under a minute to go. Joystick picking up the diffuser and will likely use an Adrenal Surge before he tries to get the case down. There is some anti-plant denial. Wherever those Goyo canisters set up by KDS will slow down the advance from VP, and there's a Nitro Cell in pocket for Handy.
Yeah, man, it was good clear of the bottom floor, but they're taking a lot of time now to reset. It's going to be a chaotic finish. One rotating over towards Black. That'll be Joystick with the fuse kit. Gives him some good plant positions, but as you mentioned, Goyo canisters and, of course, the Nitro from Handy as well.
Always and Dan now ascending these back stairs. Flames running out in front of them, looking for a line of sight deep into Geisha. There's soft walls right staring them in the face. Is that Handy in the hallway? Firing through, but that's a hard wall. They trade out. Advantage right now for FaZe Clan. Running out of time if you're Virtus.pro. Where are Joystick and Always going? Joystick needs to get into the site. He has 1 second. Always in Handy in a 1v1. Down he goes, and Handy with that 6 shooter will get the final kill. Virtus.pro love to take their time. It's a bit self-indulgent from time to time, and this round is a great example of that. They had the numbers advantage. They didn't know where the defenders were, and instead of being proactive, they just waited a bit too long before ultimately deciding, we gotta go, and it did not work out for them.
I mean, I like the idea. You know, you got that man advantage down on the bottom floor. You then rotate over towards Black to go for a plant inside of Karaoke. That's textbook. That's brilliant siege play. Unfortunately, the Goyo canisters on the Black door slowed them down a lot. That was a real big problem for them. And then, of course, just not having the drones either in that late round. The real problem was they had no clue where Handy was at in the late round chaos. He got in a pick. I believe he was known at some point. But just in the chaos, the Capitao had no clue where he was supposed to be firing, and obviously with the utmost importance to protect the planter, time was on 000, so he had to get that kill. Couldn't quite find it in the end. And you're right, that time really escaping from Virtus.pro there, despite the fact that it was a well-constructed push.
I will say this much. They are losing, but I don't feel like Virtus.pro are fully out of this match just yet. I mean, you are making a face. You're grimacing.
I mean, they're attacking on Skyscraper, Parker, and I know I just hyped up how good they've been attacking this map so far, but, like, you're up against FaZe Clan.
Issuing a correction here, disregard everything I just said.
One of the best teams on Skyscraper in the entire world. They've proven that time and time again. If there's anybody who's going to be consistent on a map like this, it's going to be FaZe. So maybe let's try something different. The Nook from Joystick being pulled out to try to sneak something under the nose of FaZe Clan. This is honestly a good play. I like a Nook walking up house stairs at default, 2 default cameras you can walk right past. It can be a really sneaky play if anybody happens to be playing over towards that part of the map. I'm not sure anybody is from FaZe Clan though. Seems at this moment that they're all more focused on the Geisha side of things. This is where a lot of pressure is.
Pasha's looking at that terrace window. There could be a jump out. Just that was a bit too early and could have actually aided Virtus.pro, frankly. If he'd waited about half a second, it would open up the wall for them. That's terrific stuff. He wouldn't have even needed to waste skeleton key ammunition. KDS tries to get out of there with his life intact. He succeeds, but he takes some damage in the process. All the while, attention has been over towards Geisha. Joystick looks over towards Dragon. Vidiking thinks somebody is coming, and he's prepared and waiting for it. Cyber eliminating Shepard on the jump out. That was the window on Terrace that was being watched by VP earlier on. Joystick looked like he was on a collision course with Vidiking on those stairs. Instead, now he'll go over towards house side. Back to the main stairs he goes. Grenade will go off. Vidiking maneuvered away from that position, and down will go. No! How did the grenade not even get the mute jammer? What did it get at all? Things go from bad to worse for Virtus.pro here. But Pasha finds one, almost finds another over towards the stairs. And Flash will go out to buy him some time, but with this bomb site being on the other side of the map, Handy can do so much damage. He lets the Blackbeard go by. 9 kills for Handy. 10 kills for Handy. Almost 11, but Vidiking will get the job done instead. Maybe I spoke too soon about Virtus.pro. Another round for FaZe Clan as they're 2 away from sending us to map 3.
Beautiful positioning coming out from the youngest player in the server. Handy stepping up big time in that round to hold things down for FaZe. Honestly, just some really solid play off that on that aggression, countering the Nook wonderfully. I never would want to go up against the Vidaking with a shotgun, and unfortunately, Joystick learned that one the hard way. They just seemed to read VP like a book. They knew exactly how they wanted to take that push. Coming in through Geisha, they were set up perfectly for it. And on the opposite side, it wasn't true. They did not know what was going on with that roam game. Obviously, that just a bit of aggression from Handy caught them off guard completely. So wonderfully done by FaZe Clan. This map slipping away from Virtus.pro. We said we wanted all three, Parker, and when VP won their own map pick and we looked at Skyscraper, it sure feels likely, I'll tell you that.
Only thing really worth noting when teams win their own maps is how well their opponents are able to do on them. FaZe Clan came a couple gunfights away from winning bank themselves.
Yes.
Virtus.pro now at danger of falling off of Skyscraper.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of a classic VP best of 3, right? The first map pick, very close. Obviously, FaZe Clan, they're a good bank team. They did their best. Wasn't quite enough. VP a little bit more prepared. FaZe Clan's map pick, VP have been looking a little more limp. Unfortunately, it's only a 5-3. That's not the greatest of score lines, but again, just with the circumstances, it's going to be tough for Virtus.pro to pull this one back. Now, they'll get their best opportunity here. Kitchen and Barbecue, one of the weakest sites that we see on the map. The main opportunity for attackers to get round wins. It's where FaZe Clan got their first round of the map. Joystick through the top floor, and it's Barricade City once again.
I remember casting a qualifier one time with one of those goofy all-pro quals we did, and it was Oregon, and one of the teams reinforced and barricaded every single way to the actual bomb site down on the bottom floor. They had to go through like 6 doorways just to get to the site. It was really quite absurd. It will slow them down. It's funny because in our matchup earlier today, I said, you don't want to barricade everything.
And sometimes you don't, but sometimes it's good for information. So it's situational, for sure. Joystick hunting for another one up here on the top floor. 90 seconds elapsed, but it's Vidaking the first to fall to Dan.
This is a very critical round here for Virtus.pro and for their mental. You know that VP can get very down on themselves. They fail here, knowing that this is the most defender-sided map. That might be curtains, but they're putting up much more of a fight than we saw in the previous round. They had a good opportunity in the first round of the second half, but fell just short because of the clock. There's some trepidation on the side of Virtus.pro. Unfortunately, that speed, that sluggishness, it cost them. They've got Pasha down. Virtus.pro might be able to retrieve him.
The rat is ratting again. He just did this last round, Parker. They don't know he's here.
Andy struck from behind inside of gold. Vault in now. Where is Andy?
If they check it with the Blackbeard, they might survive.
He's playing this rotate from Geisha into Karaoke. Oh my. Pulls trigger a little bit too soon, so he's giving himself away. Always adorns the walls with the blood of Handy. Very graphic imagery, but a moment befitting of it. 2 remain, KDS and Souls with 15 seconds to go. Virtus.pro doubled up in numbers. Souls could easily catch one here. The greater issue for VP is going to be that diffuser. Again, maybe a bit too slow. Shepard afflicted by the goo mine. He's going to stop and pause for a second. But it's a straight slap fight from VP. They come to blows, and Virtus.pro only needed the 2 kills to win the round. They get the job done. And instead of it being FaZe on map point, Virtus.pro has brought it within 1.
I don't think it's fair to show up to Skyscraper in a 6v5. The clock might have been the biggest enemy of Virtus.pro so far through this series. In that round, though, they managed to beat it, and they did get that defuse kit on the ground in time. They got the kill as well, so it wouldn't have mattered in the end. VP taking their time with it, but they managed to check all their corners. They didn't get caught up by the rat plays being pulled out from FaZe Clan, so they get past it. Andy held to 0 kills last round. They clear through that top floor, and much like FaZe Clan on round number 3, they have a lot more success working those picks with the different angles that you can get. It's crazy how much of a difference it makes when you know, the defense has to play 1 or 2 players down below. It just limits their numbers up top, and it makes it more difficult to go for that roam game, more difficult to hold down the top floor. Thankfully for FaZe Clan, they never need to defend the bottom floor again, because they just need to win 2 more rounds, which means 1 on each top floor bomb site, and I expect we will stay on the top floor for the rest of this map, including if we go overtime.
Would love to know what's going on the other stream, by the way. There's our other elimination match occurring on the A stream. If you're here on the B stream, you probably know about the A stream already, but Falcons and Dark Zero are in a fight for their lives. Xenox and Ace are doing an excellent job with it. I can hear them over here, and Falcons did take map number 1. The game is still going, so it hasn't come to a conclusion just yet.
Sounds like things are going really poorly for Dark Zero, though.
Yeah, they're losing right now, but they're starting to mount a comeback, apparently, according to our producer in our ear.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that's a great game. VP hoping to
You sounded
that.
so insincere.
No, I do hope it's a great game.
Wow, I hope that's a good game.
No, I hope it's a great game. Oh, this game is good too, though, Parker. I mean,
This game is good. I'm enjoying this.
It's been good. This second map, I want to see more out of Virtus.pro. I won't lie to you, though. These attacks need to be better on the top floor, and now is their last chance to prove it.
This is a very, very slow Skyscraper. Even by Skyscraper standards, this is quite slow. And you're not going to get the angle on that. You are too experienced. So
The nade will.
Yes. There you go.
Never mind.
That
Tucked
nade also
in.
didn't get the mute jammer.
Oh, boy. Nades are hard, man. I mean, without being able to cook them, it's tricky to clear out util. You should see a pro player trying to nade a castle.
Nice kill from Dan to start off this round. Virtus.pro have an opportunity to end this in 2 maps, but they've got to be better on attack than what we've seen so far. They almost get Vidiking in this position as he's forced to back up, staring at that balcony door on the top of back stairs. It is very challenging for FaZe Clan to deal with this Blackbeard. They've had some struggles against this op, quite pronounced, in fact, over the last couple rounds. And why not? I mean, Virtus.pro is going to continue to use this operator very effectively. And almost gets siege timing there as KDS goes for the swing. It could have been another pick for Virtus.pro. And instead now the cross is being held as the Blackbeard walks right up. KDS is on the board. Handy is as well. Virtus.pro seemingly learning from the last time they attacked this bomb site that we've got to go in a hurry. They take 2, they lose 2. No team closer, but Souls is here on the flank. Nitro Cell will go off. He should be able to catch Joystick off guard as he's looking the wrong way. Nice flick from Souls. Diffuser was going down. Pasha peels off of it. It's him and Shepard. As now the Blitz will be in hot pursuit down below to find Souls. Pistol out, but a scary predicament. Pasha with 10 seconds left needs to get that diffuser back up there. Down goes the Goyo, and he secures it. A swing now in from Shepard, who stays alive for the time being. 2 seconds left. Pasha very vulnerable. A swing from Geisha, and FaZe will do it again. The defuse does go down, but the kill comes out anyway, and an easy counter disable for FaZe to move to map point.
Nice. Nicely done there, excuse me. Virtus.pro not able to get in cleanly. That flank from Blackstairs really threw a wrench into their plan, and already it had been disrupted with those early points of contact going the way of FaZe Clan. Yes, maybe they had a man advantage, but often on T-Karaoke, that is not going to be enough. We get attack timeout, and often we want to listen to the coaches. It sounds like there might be another team in that room who is being a little bit louder. Sometimes the players have talked about, and coaches have talked about, how it is distracting sometimes if a lot is going on the other stream.
Now, usually we'd fill this time listening to the coaches speak, but on one side of the bench, you've got Russian-speaking players and a Russian-speaking coach, even though Karshaka is technically from Estonia. On the other side, it's a Portuguese-speaking team from the land of Brazil. So what we'll do is we'll tell you a bit of a spoiler. We're now the last gig in town. Falcons defeating Dark Zero 2-0. DZ will go home. DZ did not exactly have the strongest set of games to get to this point. They did take part in probably the most memorable game at SI, but not for gameplay reasons. Fortunately, NA will say goodbye to another team. There have been a few that have gone home today. M80, Shopify Rebellion, and now DZ will all be on flights across the country as we're here already in America. That means that a team that's not in the main big three regions, as they were referred to as for a long period of time, there's still a team remaining. Middle East, North Africa, Falcons from Saudi Arabia, surviving to the top 8.
Rough day for North America. Spoit, Bolo, and Canadian all fall in the lower bracket. Gaveni continues to carry the torch for NA, along with SSG and, of course, Oxygen.
You are a silly person.
I like Gaveni.
I know you like Gavin, but out of all the players you could have referenced,
I was looking at the list. I was like, who am I gonna single out?
I mean, SSG still has a world champion on it, and Fultz could have maybe talked about him. You know, you've got some major champions on Unwanted, of which Gavin is admittedly one.
Yeah.
You got hot and cold. It's quite tenured.
Gavin's a great player. Why wouldn't I pick Gavin?
I don't have any problems with Gavin. Do you
hate Gavin?
I don't hate Gavin. Don't put in the newspaper that I hate Gavin.
I might let him know.
I like Gavin plenty, but I just think he's a bit of an odd choice for when you're talking about all the teams left in North America. He's the one that jumps to mind.
Virtus.pro must win the next 2 rounds, or we are headed to Clubhouse for a 3rd map in this series. Aggressive mirror windows set up on the Geisha wall. This is not going to be counterable, or this is going to be easily countered, I should say, by the ace of Shepard, which is now coming out. The pressure is mounting. A Blackbeard and a Clash both meet the server.
Hate this reticle.
Dan loves it.
I know Dan loves it, and it works for him. Saw some people on Reddit being like, "Oh, I should try it."
You should.
Go ahead. Try it.
Give her a go. Cybertruck it up.
No. Slowly but surely, Virtus.pro is picking away at this bomb site, or rather over top of these defenders, as the bomb site is on the other side of the map. They're picking away at Geisha, pushing these defenders out of their spot, and as it stands right now, the big focal point is going to be Cyber on the Clash, Jesse. This Joystick wanting this engagement on Davidiking. This happened before, if you recall. Joystick opted not to go for this position. Flashbangs galore have gone up those main stairs, and right now, neither of these teams have really lost or wagered much.
FaZe Clan, make the call. Guys, we've wasted more than enough time. Let's get out of here in a 5v5. We like our chances on Skyscraper, and I can't say I disagree. Pushing 5v5 into this site with a Clash on the board, plus Gersmont mines coming through from the Ella. You're going to be walking into frost mats if you're not careful. Mirror window in sight. You'll get the man advantage thanks to KDS so kindly donating his body to science. But even still, the util will be heavily favoring FaZe Clan in our final execute.
Joystick, a man of culture, looking towards the future. With KDS's body, they might be able to win 2 rounds, and the future might hold a victory for Virtus.pro. You wear those frost mats, though. That is the #1 thing. You got to look down. And he's just been ratting it up. You talked about this before. He's just sitting in corners and forcing VP to drone it out. VP, very little information and very little time. Joystick now punished from down below. As Vidiking is lurking, and well, guess what? He's got a Nitro Cell in back pocket. This might be an explosive conclusion. FaZe Clan racking it up on the score sheet. That's got to be it for Skyscraper as FaZe Clan sweep through the final 4 players and send us to Clubhouse. Jesse, we wanted a 3rd map, and boy, oh boy, did we get it. Both teams win their own maps. FaZe Clan does so a bit more decisively than what we saw from Virtus.pro on VP's map of Bay.
Was there ever any doubt we'd be going to Club? I don't think so. Beautifully done by FaZe. Getting 3 attacks on Skyscraper, all but guaranteed it. They played so well, both the first half and the second. VP couldn't mount the comeback, and because of that, they will have to play a 3rd to end the night in Boston. Only one of these teams can survive.
2 Giants will go head-to-head in a best-of-1 on a historical map between these teams. Who will prevail? The showdown on Clubhouse up in just a couple minutes.
Tap tap, yeah, I want that. No lines, I don't cut back. Sweet, salty, and all that. Let loose, come get that. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel that? Ooh, you feel that? Ooh, the real back. Ooh, I'm still that. Ooh, you catch that? Ooh, I guess that. The best back. Yeah. 30,000 up on my pallet. Might jump out if I'm wildin'. Catch my flow, I'm so stylish. Tap tap, real smooth. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go.
There are many great players who are not champions, who have never lifted the hammer, who might never lift the hammer. And it's not because they aren't good enough, they just might not put in what it requires to really get there. Because they are the goods and not the greats.
There is not 1 hour of the day where your mind can be off siege. You have to sacrifice everything to win.
If you were to win any event and call it quits, it would probably be the Six Invitational.
Chegar no topo uma vez, então assim foi um momento de muita emoção.
The Invitational is, the kind of the final checkpoint, the final test. It meant the world to me.
History will be made here because for the first time on home soil, a Brazilian team will win a world championship.
The only thing that matters is the 4 guys next to you, your coach, and the screen in front of you.
No one ever really just goes and wins. You have to go through the pain, the hardships.
FaZe are exploding!
You have to go all in, that's it.
Quem perdeu foi nós tudo ali. E a gente que vai virar isso aqui agora.
Você tem que confiar muito no seu time.
Não vamos desistir, não vamos desistir.
When you truly want to become the best, you truly have to believe that you are, because you have to play it 100%.
We wanted a third map, and Jesse, FaZe Clan and Virtus.pro have given us it. Well, they will give it to us. We don't have it just yet. FaZe Clan beating VP on FaZe's map of Skyscraper means both of these teams succeeded with the maps that they picked. That means that the map ban phase has gone quite well for both of them. Bank, about an hour and a half ago, went in favor of Virtus.pro. We just saw Skyscraper go towards FaZe Clan, and it did so with a bigger margin between the two teams, meaning, in terms of pure rounds, FaZe Clan is ahead. What was your main takeaway from the defender-sided Skyscraper?
I think I was honestly, it was defender-sided. I was most impressed by FaZe Clan's attacks. You know, being able to consistently lock down that top floor. They got 2 successful pushes up on the top floor bomb sites. That is very difficult to do, especially against a team like Virtus.pro. So I think FaZe really earned that map win. Of course, they chose it. They came extremely prepared for those setups, and I think we saw a lot of that. You see the stats on your screen now. Handy was a big player specifically on defense. He had a couple of really aggressive plays that he went for, some rat spots as I called them. And listen, they weren't always successful, but when they were, he had massive impact to win the round. A couple of good plays from VP as well. Joystick had some big moments playing on the Jaeger over towards a drum roam, but just was not quite enough for VP to walk away with the win here today. Instead, it'll be Handy that pushes this all the way to a third as our MVP.
And Handy really took off when FaZe became the defense. When they went on as defenders, Handy round after round after round punished this Virtus.pro attack. It was just an issue with drone work that wasn't really present for VP on Bank. We complimented Virtus.pro on their ability to take map control based on a lot of intel on Bank, and VP did indeed keep many of those drones alive in time for the execute to unfold. It's very opposite from what happened on Skyscraper. Now, granted, Skyscraper is a bit more claustrophobic. It's a bit more narrow of a map, but VP seemed starved of information on almost every single execute, and not just Handy, but all of FaZe punished them.
No, certainly, and I think for FaZe Clan, bouncing back a little bit on attack is really important. Yes, they only got like a 3-3 split, and that's not the most insane attacking win rate, but for a map like Skyscraper, that's very good. And FaZe have struggled on their offense here at the Six Invitational. Coming into this day, they had just a 38% win rate on the offense, which is one of the lowest in the tournament. In fact, the only team ahead of today that is still in tournament with a lower attacking win rate were the Falcons, who have managed to stay alive. Over on the A stream, of course, still existing after they just played a tight series against Dark Zero. Can FaZe Clan replicate that? And just as Falcons did, pull back their attacking win rate because it is currently in the dumpster, and they need to be able to push successfully if they're going to win here on Clubhouse.
I mean, it's a great question to ask. I said this, I think it was in map number 1, that this is a very historic map between these two teams. Back when they were competing under Team Empire on the road to winning the Raleigh Major, which is the only major championship that Virtus.pro has won still to this day. Technically, it was Team Empire who won it, but the org does not exist anymore. The team went over to Virtus.pro, and you know what? I'm going to give the legacy of the actual players to the players. I don't care what org they play for. The players earned it.
I agree.
So if you consider that this is the team that, for the most part, won the Raleigh Major, then the history and destiny is theirs. FaZe Clan obviously is a very different lineup today, and they are the same org, but just different players, and the big part of that is that FaZe Clan of that day does not exist anymore. A lot of those players have retired or moved on. They're not active competitors, but that clubhouse between the two is really a sight to behold. If you are ever bored and looking to fill a good 3 hours of your day, go back and watch FaZe versus Team Empire at the Raleigh Major.
And if you're bored right now, then get ready to watch it again in live time. The players are just wrapping up discussions with their support staff. You saw a couple of the analysts talking to their teams, both here now, and then also Zeka made an appearance on the camera just briefly in front of the players, gave them a couple of fist bumps before they locked in. If you have been watching this team for a while, you'll know Zeka as the guy that was standing behind the team for so many of their tournament runs.
But you know what they did?
What did they do?
Virtus.pro bought a car.
What?
Car Zeka.
Oh!
Zeka was their coach, and then their former teammate back on Team Empire, Car Zeka, is now behind them. He's not Russian. He speaks Russian. He's from Estonia. He's also got a pretty rad tattoo that I'm sure many of you have seen. He was for a long period of time the IGL and leader of this squad, and he played that Zofia and was an absolute terror. So Virtus.pro making a potential upgrade on coaching staff. We assume it was an upgrade. I mean, if it wasn't, why would you do it?
I just made a crazy discovery. Was on Liquipedia, my favorite website. Karzeka and Zeka share the same first name. They are both first named Eugene.
Wow.
I wonder if there's some relation, Zeka to Eugene in the Russian language, and that's why they both have very similar in-game names and out-game names.
To our Russian friends, if you'd like to reach out to us and tell us if that has any bearing on it, that would be greatly appreciated. A lot of people did not seem to know that Philippox is named like that because his name is Philippe.
Yeah.
The more you know.
And not because he's a huge fan of Pox on Locks. Although I am a huge fan of Pox on Locks. Philippox, I don't think, knows Pox on Locks exists, which is okay. They are continuing their run in the upper bracket, of course, Furia. They'll be in action tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, playing through the bracket to see if they can make it to the grand finals via the upper bracket, which they couldn't do last year. Of course, had to go on that ridiculous lower bracket run. It is worth noting that over the last 2 years, the team who has won the Six Invitational has come from the lower bracket, and they have run the gauntlet, which means that if FaZe Clan were to win out here and run that same gauntlet, they will be repeating history. But one game at a time, and this next game is going to be oh so important. It's Map 3, Clubhouse, the decider between FaZe Clan and Virtus.pro. Let's get into it. Winner moves on to face Falcons tomorrow. The loser will go home, and we'll start with a Capitao ban from FaZe Clan.
That is correct. The HUD, unfortunately, has not been fixed. We don't know if it will be in time for the grand finals. The team with the Rook, the castle, right next to their name, which is a little confusing, I guess, if you don't follow chess, because there's two operators named Rook and Castle, but just bear with me here for a second here. A Rook is a chess piece, and it looks like a castle. The team that defends first bans first. Now, the HUD auto bans, or shows that the ban is happening for the orange team, because traditionally, the defenders always start on the orange side, but with the land build, it can be custom inputted so that the defenders are a different side. In this case, FaZe Clan will be blue. They get Capitao banned, and then they get Kaid banned. Virtus.pro in the middle takes out Montaigne and Mira.
That was perfectly explained, Parker. Well done. It's not often you explain something complex and you get it 100% correct, but that was wonderful. So,
you know, your praise means all the world to me.
VP banning out the shields, as they have been throughout this series. They do not want to see Vidaking on the Monty, and that makes sense because Vidaking has been one of the best shield players in the entire world. He's one of those guys that I don't think really took to the new shield mechanics. He wasn't the greatest aggressive shield player, but when you go back to that old school classic style of Montaigne, there's almost nobody in the world who can top Vidaking on that operator. So they've been removing that op from his hands every single chance that they could get. He's not been able to play it since the series began. Still has had some moments on shields. He's not really one to pick up the Blackbeard or the Blitz, but he will pick up the Clash on defense, and you've seen that from him a couple of times, including back on Skyscraper. Don't know if we'll get it in our map 3 of Clubhouse, but through the first round, he's going to jump on the mute instead, and it looks like it's going to be a basement roam game coming out from FaZe Clan in this oh-so-important decider game.
Sens was banned in the previous matchup, and I'm curious as to how that influenced Skyscraper. It's something that if we had a desk, they could ponder on. There's just too much for us to talk about as the game is transpiring. This time, Sens will remain unbanned, and Joystick will be very quick onto the operator. Concealment that comes from those 4 smoke walls that are sent out can be oh-so effective, and keep the defenders in a position where Wardens, bulletproof cameras, and Maestros can't see through it. None of these gadgets that used to be able to see through smoke work any longer. It's a huge buff, and it's a reason why we see Sens more frequently.
Glaz also can't see through it, just in case you're wondering on the attack, which is good because Glaz needed a nerf desperately.
Talking earlier today with the OXG guys, if memory serves correctly, about how no, it was actually the Shot by Rebellion guys. But when Glaz used to be able to shoot through the castle barricades.
Oh, yeah.
Just to leave those little bullet holes through it. That was fun. That was fun. That was very fun. I liked that a lot. We should definitely bring that back.
Yeah, let's re-add bullet holes. Great take, Mark.
No, just castle barricades.
Dan staying alive thanks to these to the shield in front of his face here on the Blackbeard. Viking not so lucky, taken down. He was trying to make it back to the site or at least help his teammates get back through Secret, but instead on the rappel, Shepard will cut him off. A rare entry frag from the hard support player of Virtus.pro. That's going to be a very successful roam clear. 90 seconds it took you. You got a pick. You're going to have good utils still for the execute with a lot of hard breachers up, and of course those Sens walls. You're going to be a little bit worried about the Goyo canisters, and this Solus might throw a wrench into the plans too, but for now, I think they're looking pretty.
They're definitely in a very good spot at the moment, and they're doing all right on the time. If you look at Virtus.pro's clock management, very similar to what we saw at the early rounds of VP on attack on Bank. Drone economy is pretty good. 1 minute to go and 5 drones still upright means Virtus.pro can maneuver them into position. The real damage that's been done here is to Dan and Always is a lot of explosions on the kitchen, but they get those X-Kairos, Jesse.
6 more from Pasha, so he can open if he wants to, but it's going to take a lot of time. Cyber with the shotgun main stairs manages to escape. How? Not punished as he gets all the way back, and the Goyo canister covers his escape.
An opportunity lost at the moment for Virtus.pro. Still, they are in control. Dan is searching for any kill at the bottom of main stairs. 20 seconds left, and you've got to get into the bomb site. VP's attacks slow as ever, and for a team like FaZe Clan, they will punish you for that. Andy with the very first pick. Viking in the ground, Always in the ground, a 4v4, and now it's time for FaZe Clan to pop up and greet every single one of these players from VP. Pasha and Dan miles away from being able to get this objective down. Pasha wasn't even in the bomb site when the clock hit 0. FaZe Clan are present, but VP's greatest adversary through this series and through much of this event, Jesse, has been in their mind. And as you put it, it's a 6v5. FaZe in the clock against Virtus.pro. They lose the first round. FaZe Clan technically wins the first round, though they didn't do very much turn.
No, and I mean, obviously that was VP struggling with that clock. They really did take a long time, despite successfully clearing the roam at about 1:30. I didn't think they were going to have many problems with the execute, but had some struggles over by main stairs. I think you do got to give good credit to the Solus player on FaZe for stalling things out a little bit longer. They didn't have the greatest of soft breach. They didn't really know where they wanted to go. The Sens walls ended up coming through blue. There is obviously credit to be given for FaZe Clan for stalling that out, right? I mean, obviously in that roam game, they did deny a good bit of time, and from inside the site, their ability to apply pressure, especially around main stairs, was impactful, but I mean, if you're VP, you've got to be faster than that. There's no other way around it. They had full top floor control for 90 seconds and couldn't even get to the bomb site with the defuse kit. That is a problem. That's an issue with the timer. Thankfully, it's only the first round, and so they will have the opportunity to wake up, but it's map 3. It's do or die. Those chances are running out.
This is a bit of a sobering stat line for Virtus.pro, Jesse. After that round, Joystick is now the lowest rated player on Virtus.pro with the stat tracking that we do. For a player of his caliber and a player on his particular role, that is just terrible. He is an entry player. He, along with Dan, are 2 of the best at making space for their teammates. Dan is having an excellent tournament so far. He's got the most kills on the side of VP through these 2 maps at 20. He's 1 kill back of Souls, who's in second, and 3 kills back of Handy, who's in first. Handy having a 14-kill game on Skyscraper, but Joystick simply has to be better. 11 kills for Joystick as he sits at the bottom. The only player in the lobby that's currently doing worse than Joystick is KDS. And again, KDS plays on a completely different role.
Joystick, once upon a time, known as maybe the greatest player in the world, but obviously, long career. Yeah, drone hole plus the Mav. You got to watch out for that. Long career, he's not really been that star fragger that he's been in the past. Getting up there, 26 already, close to one of the oldest players at this tournament.
Absurd, by the way. 26 years of age, and he's basically in the senior zone. We already did this bit where we're like the oldest creature humanly alive. It's a wonder that they can walk.
I mean, listen, he is, for esports, he's getting up there. So, obviously would love to walk home with a hammer. Currently, he holds the record for the most SI Grand Finals losses in history from at least any team.
It's 2?
It's 2. Still, though,
it's not very much.
That's crazy it happened twice. If I had a nickel,
You'd have two of them. Of course, the loss for Virtus.pro came when they were on Team Empire way back in the day in that first best of 5 that we had at Place Belle. G2 won. That was the 22-round coastline, if memory serves correctly. One of the most memorable maps that we've had in the history of this game. The actual best of 5 was not particularly memorable. G2 plowed right through them. And then the next SI was one of the ones that happened during COVID, where it was TSM who beat Virtus.pro in Sweden.
Here comes the execute now with 35 seconds. The clock again going to be an issue, but they've got pings, and a 2-man advantage is better than 1.
They might have another, as now the Fenrir of KDS realizes that when you are down these numbers, you got to fire back. Goodbye, Vidaking, always with one handy on the board. First person for FaZe. He and KDS can strike even, but Joystick steps up big in that round. And Virtus.pro get on the board. It's a third map between these two enormous teams. I want us going deep into the night.
Listen, we were discussing the history of it. I got to say, that was a great cache extension clear from Virtus.pro. They had the Maverick over on the main wall, which opened things up, and they found the opening pick off of that utility play. You just kept forcing FaZe Clan back. They had to rotate out of CCTV, out of cache, out of construction, straight into the bomb site, where then Virtus.pro were able to surround them, and from the windows and from construction, work those angles. Excellent intel as well inside the bomb site, making sure they always knew where those players were at. Like some good drones inside the site that were able to help out with that. So beautiful work coming through from VP. That's, I think, going to be the trend for Virtus.pro, right? If they don't have too much map to clear, it's not the entire top 2 floors, it's just the cache side. They can handle that. They can get through it. It's going to be when they go back to that bottom floor, they've got to full clear the map. Things are going to get a little bit more awkward for them. Thankfully, in round 3, they can stay on CCTV cache, and this is going to be a more direct hit from VP for sure, so the clock will be less of an issue, but it's going to be a focus, I think, through the rest of this series, Parker. How long are Virtus.pro taking on these tacks? Because ever since map 2, I didn't see it as much on Bank, but map 2, especially at the start of map 3 here, they've been quite slow.
No, on attack, they definitely had a lot more moxie and pep in their step, and again, I think a lot of that really does come down to intel. We joked about the dotting the I's and crossing the T's and crossing the I's and dotting the T's bit, but in all reality, Virtus.pro are a very information-reliant team, and if they cannot keep enough drones up, that same confidence that they had in the past, where drones be damned, they would just charge into the bomb site and take no prisoners, well, that team is not here anymore. They just simply either they don't have the gun skill to pull it off, or their opponents have improved, or the game has gotten away from them. VP have 6 drones still remaining with 2 minutes on the board, so they can gain some information if they so choose, but who has those drones? That's the question.
This is a cool play from Dan, so they don't have a buck or anything, so they will preemptively destroy the soft part of this wall, and then that allows the Maverick to fully open this. This leaves Dan with the DMR able to just watch the angles, protect Shepard as he goes for the opening of the wall.
It's all gone.
It just pops right open, Parker. No problems whatsoever.
Vanished. A disappearing wall. What a thing.
And then Dan, still from platform, can start working with these Brava drones. Now, it will get stunned, and this camera can permanently stun that drone. Just keep it locked down, although he missed the timing, so that's going to be gone.
They still hold control of that camera, by the way. The clutch drone has not been able to take it over just yet. How will they tackle KDS up on rafters? It looked like Always was the one dispatched to do just that, as the smoke will linger. I beg teams to just sit and wait, by the way. It is immensely frustrating that they don't let the gadget recharge. We finally see it happen at the hands of Always, and KDS is punished. Cyber down below an oil pit. He thinks he's slick, but no, he's cleaned up very effectively by Pasha. Souls was extending outwards on the clash, but the problem is that because you've lost these 2 players holding Garage, you now need to get a bit more forward-facing inside of the B-bomb site, lest you get run over.
Only 2 guns up as the fuse kit goes down.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful smoke tossed out, by the way. It perfectly lands.
Joystick walking up red could be a big distraction play. They're going to pinch this guy.
Always is there as well. They coordinate so effectively. Always gets the kill, and Vidaking goes for 2. Knocked on over. Souls is the last man standing. He puts the shield away on his shoulders like he's carried the team many times before. Target prioritization over towards red, having to care about where the diffuser goes, working his way towards the breach, but Pasha sets the diffuser down, gets the kill, and gives VP the lead.
Souls has had some clutches in this series so far, but not to be done again. Nice little execute onto the bomb site coming forward from Virtus.pro. They didn't need to clear any of the map that time. Again, we're going to keep coming back to it, but the Rafters clear was really nice. Obviously, with the glass down below, you can see through the smoke. They cannot. It was a beauty shot straight to the head of KDS from the glass. That really started things off nicely. Let's watch it again. It was so beauty. Ooh, always gets it done with no problems. And then in the end there, of course, just able to close things out with the big man advantage that they had. Pushing into that site 3v5, decent enough time on the clock. That clash, usually an advantage, but I feel when you're in such a low man count situation and you're up against 5 players coming to the site like that, it's kind of difficult without a third gun to be up and holding the angles. So Virtus.pro in advantage will close that one. And that's going to be now a 2-1 lead, but we go back to the bottom floor. And this is where VP really struggled. If they win this, we're starting to get very worried for FaZe that VP might run away with it.
Clubhouse right now skews towards the attackers, but every time we mention it, we have to say that this is a 50-50 map. 51% of the rounds won by attackers, 49% won by the defenders. As close to balanced as you're often going to see. Clubhouse is middle of the pack in terms of pick rate. It's actually quite close to the bottom, Jesse. 167 plays and only a couple rounds separating attack and defense. That means a couple things. The operator bans will have a very big impact as to how a team will be able to defend and attack certain bomb sites. The way that certain teams play, if they're very aggressive, if they're quick to take map control, whether they're a bit more slow and methodical, will defenders actively roam or do they play more of a turtle setup? All of these things will factor in. We won't really know what Clubhouse we're looking at until we get later into the rounds. One thing I will tell you is Souls was all the way over inside a dirt tunnel, and he's just looking to Electric Claw and keep those walls intact.
Saw the electricity, you saw the TCSG. It happens, hey. Bandit batteries. Keeping things closed. I'm going to be honest with you, Parker. We're not going to get the kill for another 60 seconds here. VP's pace, they're just taking his top floor control. FaZe are happy to give it to him, honestly. I mean, with the knowledge, with how VP have been playing, they can keep this one tidy. Bulletproof camera, using that zap ability to stop the Flores drone from Shepard. There will be more of those trying to accomplish the same task. Bandit battery got cleared off, and so now they can start coming down, but 2 Goyos inside a dirt tunnel.
I think they're expecting a very heavy shield push with an escort through dirt tunnel. That's why there's been such an extension on the side of FaZe Clan. 2 Goyo canisters, bandit batteries, Electric Claw, and an active player down there. That is a huge investment. Is there a reason why you're looking at me like that?
Just Electric Claw again.
I said multiple things.
Okay. In for blue, that's going to be the focus for VP. 45 seconds. They've got the Grim information. This could be exactly what they need to crack it open, but they've got to go fast.
It's not really the name of the game for Virtus.pro, by the way. We just hit the 60-second mark since you last spoke about this kill. KDS will be the first line of defense over towards blue, hounded by these bees as his position is given away. He takes matters into his own hands. Dan Shepard died. Pasha's on the ground. Joystick is gone. Always stands alone, and in the span of 10 seconds, half of the server clears out, 4 of those players on the side of VP. You talked about this matchup not getting away from FaZe Clan, and it doesn't look like that's the case. Always with a single pick, but there's 3 more to be found. At this point, he's just playing for love of the game because he's not going to win the round. These teams will tie it up. That investment that we talked about all the way down in dirt didn't really matter because while they didn't take dirt, maybe they got scared off of it, wasn't needed elsewhere.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, they were approaching dirt. They wanted to get into dirt, but they saw the Goyo canisters. They saw the bandit battery. They imagined that there was an Electric Claw there, and they decided we got to pull off of it. We got to go instead to play towards the blue side of things and go for a kitchen drop. Just weren't able to find that success. So A tactical timeout will be called, and it's called by FaZe Clan, Parker.
I don't know if maybe FaZe thought that they would have a more lopsided lead to start off this map, or if maybe they have an issue with the players.
I mean, I will say they've won basement twice.
Yep.
They now have to go up to the top floor. VP kind of rolled over him on the top floor, and so I kind of like this tact timeout. It's a little bit bold because you won't have it for the second half, but I trust Rafadel, the coach of FaZe Clan, to be saying the right things here. He knows that his team struggled to defend the top floor. How are you going to address that? The biggest thing is you couldn't slow down VP enough. Both times they went pretty direct through CC. They went through Cash. Once they had to go all the way through Con to get to the bomb site. The other time, that was the bomb site. Doesn't feel like they're doing anything too special. You know, some fancy stuff with the glass maybe for the rafters clear, but broadly, this is simple stuff coming out from Virtus.pro. What is FaZe Clan going to do to disrupt it? I'd like to see something aggressive. I'd like to see some moves happening. But at the same time, it's VP. They're always expecting aggression. They're always ready for it. And it can be really hard to make that work against such a cautious squad.
Throw a couple grains of sand into the gears and Virtus.pro can grind to a halt. The exception of Bank, we have focused on that time management. You noted it a couple rounds ago, and like I said, things can be a little bit different from FaZe Clan with their approach to this gym bedroom defense. Can Virtus.pro adapt on the fly and take care of the issues as they present themselves? Gym and bedroom was defended in round number 2. VP's lineup looked very different at the time. There's minimal overlap at the moment. The only operator that was present for VP at that time was IQ. These other 4 ops are all brand new choices. And I mean, they're going for a very utility-heavy lineup. Twitch drones, Thatcher, those are your 2 anti-gadget ops, and then you've got Ace and Thermite to boot. The IQ also functions as an anti-gadget op. So lots of tools to open up this jacuzzi wall, lots of tools to clear out the bomb site, deal with the Goyo canisters, deal with the goo mines, deal with those F-Knots. I like this from VP.
Arjek has instructed his team to go for a different style of push this time. They are focusing on the jacuzzi, but that doesn't mean that they're not also concerned with the cache side of the map. That will also get opened up. The mute jammers were the only thing brought to keep these walls closed, and they don't seem to be having much of an impact. VP are getting everything open with pretty good timing. Still, all players will rotate over towards CC and start working in cache. It is not being held by FaZe Clan.
So Souls, Cyber, and KDS are hanging on to utility, and I think the reason for this, Jesse, as we hit the halfway point of the round, is to wait to see where this execute is going to come from. At this point in time, Virtus.pro really have their dealer's choice. They could go through Logi, they could go through Jacuzzi, they could fight inside a construction. That's where Joystick is right now. I like this from FaZe Clan as an answer back. Tools are being brought effectively by VP. Joystick dies inside of Cons. KDS goes unaccounted for in logistics, and now he'll lose the safety and comfort of the wall as it opens up ever so slightly. He was looking for a pick over towards Cash, but Virtus.pro will give him absolutely nothing.
No man advantage, 60 seconds. VP, this will be their worst shot yet on the top floor.
The reason why you call that timeout, right?
Yeah, but immediately Souls just gives up his life. Dan on the window, that's a tough one.
Dan did the exact same thing with the Nitro Cell in the same spot, same part of the map, except the difference was he was behind the couch. Cyber dies. I hope he put down that one Goyo canister, or else it will die in pocket. Vidiking going up to the windows. Dan doesn't see him coming. KDS killed from the hatch. Logi control should be there for VP, but Vidiking is a terror in this position. Handy grabs one on Jacuzzi, as now it's all up to Shepard, miles away from that breach, but FaZe Clan are giving VP a bath. Handy with the final kill, and it's FaZe Clan to take the lead.
All right, nice response from FaZe. That was really good adaptation. They weren't playing hyper-aggressive, right? They weren't swinging everything. It wasn't an aggressive defense by normal circumstances. But for this game, with 2 very slow passive teams, they did a good job of going for those little swings and making sure that they maintained equal, if not advantageous, man count states. Vidiking in particular, playing on that position over by the construction door, swinging out of Master, had some really high-impact frags. That was making all the difference. It meant that VP didn't have that man count when they were going for the final execute. It meant they couldn't just pick off FaZe one by one. There was a bit of movement, a bit of fluidity. That's the shot from Vidiking that I was talking about. Handy over by main stairs too, for sure. They obviously clutched things up in the 2v2. They played exceptionally well. But throughout the round, that was occurring, where FaZe Clan were making these little movements to make sure they could catch VP off guard and walk away with the man advantage. They've got to do it again. We're going to CCTV Cache. It is a similar bomb site in a lot of ways. You're going to have to be pushing similar walls, similar positions. FaZe have got to be able to do that again. If they can do so, they get a 4-2 defensive split up against VP on this map, they could be in a good position. FaZe Clan are a much better defensive team on Club than they are on offense. They've won 2/3 of their defense of the tournament through 2 games so far, so this is the side where they want to get that advantage, right? If they can't, it goes to a 3-3, you're starting to look at Virtus.pro like a team who might run away with it too.
One interesting thing over all 3 of these maps, we touched on it a little bit as Skyscraper was underway, was opening picks and the way that you were able to start off a round. Of the 12 rounds played on Bank, Virtus.pro won the map 7-5, and they also won the opening duels 7-5. It was not a neat coincidence. They were not able to get a round that they got the first blood in every single time. 11 rounds were played on Skyscraper. FaZe got first blood only 3 times. 8 first bloods for Virtus.pro here on Clubhouse through 5 rounds. Virtus.pro has 3 first bloods to 2 for FaZe Clan. VP are doing an all right job, to say the least, of getting this first pick, but their sluggishness through the mid to especially the late round is costing them. So you get the opening pick, and then what do you do with it? That's the question that Virtus.pro needs to answer. They got the opening pick again in this round, literally while I was talking about it. Always takes care of KDS. That was the pulse on the run on the Raptors in Garage. Oh, and he almost gets another.
Not quite, though. Handy better on the swing. Wasn't expecting it. They've got to deal with these Evil Eyes inside of Raptors. Of course, inside of sight late. First one gets naded. That'll be Pasha who's taking this Raptors control. There's still barbed wire on those stairs that you'll have to deal with. Soul's over towards blue. He's going to be a late round threat, but they should know of his existence, or at least suspect it with that drone from Shepard. He gets off it kind of at the wrong time, but thankfully always from the grave can continue on watching it. There's still a player down there, though, and I don't think Joystick has any idea.
He's literally looking right at.
Okay, well, maybe he has a bit of an idea. Nope.
He did not have an idea.
Again, we get forced out of the bomb site. 3-3. FaZe have done a better job of maintaining equal man count. Way better than we saw in the 3rd round. In this 3-3, can they close things out and use the Toxic Babes to stall?
Red control is so pivotal at the moment. Pashik with Diffuser in a good spot. So my Soul's up a little bit too close for comfort. Dan finds his second. It's Dan and Shepard against Handy and Vidiking. Final round of this first half on the line. FaZe Clan hoping to go up 4-2 through the first half. Set themselves up real nice, real pretty for the second half. Handy still has 1 Toxic Babe as Dan will now fall far enough back. Toxic Babe goes out. It misses at this point. Shepard can stick this. The swing is good, though, from Handy. And he does it both. Handy has been so goddamn good over the last 2 maps. Instrumental in FaZe Clan winning Skyscraper and now putting up hugely impactful kills here on Clubhouse. Long faces on the bench of Virtus.pro. They know how close a number of those rounds were, but they could not get it done. FaZe Clan with the advantage as we swap sides.
You know what? We'll forgive the missed Toxic Babes.
Oh, okay.
The play with the SMG-11 and shotgun combo was good enough to make up for it. And I really think Virtus.pro, their slow style coming into focus in that round. You saw the trade come out top red. We saw Dan walk in and get that pick. And I think almost any other player on any other team, after getting a pick top red like that, would keep pushing in. They would hold W and look towards cash. Dan backs out of the breach. Just believes in his planter to put the defuse kit on the ground, but that is the VP style front and center. They love playing this style of siege where they go slow and steady, and it wasn't enough for that first half. 2 attacking rounds. They're still in this game for sure, but FaZe Clan will take the advantage heading into the half.
thing that puzzles me the most was Joystick dies downstairs in lounge. Souls flanks through blue stairs. And at that point, where do you think he's going to go? There's 2 places realistically that he can go.
Yeah.
3 technically is the outside shot would be staying lounge and if he had a nitro cell playing from down below. But you're not playing that style. You're not looking for a retake. You've got enough forces up top and you've got some stall potential with that smoke. So you either go into garage, which doesn't really make sense at this point in time, or you run up red stairs. So you need somebody either on garage or at the breach to swing red stairs. Now, you know you've got 2 defenders cramped inside of cash and by construction. Why is VP not putting somebody to keep an eye on red stairs? Souls was all the way up at the door, almost at the breach, and nobody sees this. Virtus.pro responds, but at that point, they've lost control of the middle of the site. They've lost the diffuser, and it was just too much for them to overcome.
Not going to believe this, Parker, but there is no roam game from Virtus.pro, which means we are likely to have another slow round on our hands. FaZe Clan, they're not that much different from their Russian counterparts. They do like to take things steady, but Joystick...
What did you say about roaming?
I may have miscalculated you, Joystick.
Doing a lot of speaking for Joystick over the last 2 rounds.
My apologies.
Wrong in both instances. Thank you for apologizing. Joystick accepts.
Let's see what he can do with it. Gonna walk up garage. Gonna be a while before he finds anybody if he rotates through that whole top floor, but that's okay. He's got time. Minute 40, and FaZe Clan in no hurry to get this push underway. At the moment, not a single FaZe member is on the top floor.
Very limited hard breach here, by the way. They're just looking for hatches to open up. So the Hibana is the sole hard breacher. The only denial that you see on the side of VP is the mute, so you don't really need to bring anything to deal with a Bandit or a Kaid. Kaid, of course, is banned in this particular map, so...
I think this flank's going to get a lot of kills, Parker.
Joystick has been around the world, Jesse. He has run around the entire map. Seek some safe harbor. He finds Cyber. Here's the buck not far removed. The Blitz will likely be next in line as Handy will also go for a ride. They are chasing each other down. Cue the yakety sax music.
ADS for the cutoff, though. Surely he gets this.
40 seconds to go. He does indeed, and immediately they will need to pivot. Shepard and Souls will trade kills on the bomb site as now Dan is bleeding out. Pasha under watch from Grimm's gadgetry means Shepard is last alive. FaZe only need a single kill to take the first round of this second half. And Shepard has to worry about the shield that breathes down his neck. And Souls gets the final kill as FaZe double up on the final VP defender. You were worried about VP running away with this, but now it's FaZe Clan 2 rounds away from moving on to the next stage of the lower bracket, sending VP home.
And on offense, they did what VP couldn't. Right? They chased that roamer all the way across the top floor. 2 players. It was KDS and Handy that were on pursuit that whole time. And then there was no time to hit the site from main stairs like they had been planning all along. So what did those last 2 players do? They said, well, our closest way to the site's going to be blue. We're going to go blue. And together they pushed that angle at the same time. Souls pushed the original plan. He was down by main stairs, and it was that pinch play, that adaptation the last few seconds to just throw the old plan out the window and say, screw it, we don't have time, we got to commit to something, is exactly what FaZe needed. Now it is 5-2. The tactical timeout will come from Virtus.pro. What can they do as an answer? Just a single defense loss prompts the timeout, but if you do it any later, you're going to be facing match point. FaZe Clan are on a runaway, not only just winning that first half in a 4-2, you could not afford to let them win that one. If this stack timeout doesn't pay dividends, it's going to be VP home without even reaching top 8.
Top 12, but top 8 is what they are fighting for, and you are absolutely correct. We're in elimination games here all day today. 7 teams have been sent home as we have thinned the herd here in Boston. The lowest rated players right now in the lobby show us that it is a battle of the flailing fraggers. Cyber is 13-23. Joystick is 12-20. Cyber -10. Joystick -8. When you've got two of your best fragging players at the bottom of the standings, you need a good supporting cast. Both of these teams are continually in the top 4, top 8 of events. There's a great supporting cast here. FaZe's cast has just been a little better.
The two 26-year-olds were both major MVPs.
And they're both at the bottom.
They're both at the bottom. The star player's not showing up. The new generation needs to come back.
It's the Spider-Man pointing at the Spider-Man meme.
Some aggression attempted by VP. Maybe that's what was discussed in the TAC timeout. What can they do to disrupt FaZe Clan before they get to that execute part of the round? So far, nothing. They hold on to control of Cash. They've got a Clash in here being played by Always. So there's no map control really being held by FaZe Clan, but a lot of what they've wanted hasn't been disrupted. They're working on the Jacuzzi breach now. They managed to open up the con single wall as well. Maybe they can punish here. If they can find the toes of Cyber, that'd be a big pick, but Cyber makes his escape.
Gets out of that position, and gonna have to go on the upside down repel. To be completely honest, I don't know why more teams just don't do that outright. I mean, you're inviting trouble if you're just standing still, and time again, we see somebody standing still and they get picked away at. Cyber's just very lucky that the gun's recoil was hard to control. The most impactful player and the highest rated player in the entire lobby has been Handy. One half of that twin brother rivalry, the other one over on Furia named Nade. Handy has been absolutely superb through this best of 3. 29 kills across all 3 maps, which is quite the tally. He's the first one to die. Virtus.pro with a big win. They lose Always on the Clash with a minute to go. That is a devastating operator to lose first. They almost lost Dan earlier too. VP fighting for their lives at this point, but oh my, they might be living on borrowed time, Jesse. What do you do? Who do you pick here?
Uh-oh.
Who do you pick here?
Uh-oh. It was a great drone coming through, spotted the intel on the Shepherd. The air jab got that position confirmed. They worked together to clean up that kill. They've got the time to do this because Cash didn't take that long. Now they've got a man advantage. Now they're looking at the site. Match point will await them if they can win this round.
Soul still outside with diffuser in hand. He's looking for good coverage. Cyber with a kill. 2 kills, in fact, through this round. We talked about the flailing and aging fraggers. Well, Cyber, eat your heart out. KDS and Souls, the final 2 kills. They say the Russian machine doesn't break, but in this case, it's damn near broken. FaZe Clan 1 round away from moving on to fight against Falcons.
This team have been to so many events, so many Six Invitationals. They've always been at the top. But now, I mean, an early exit, you're up against a fearsome opponent. Don't get me wrong. There are much worse teams to be eliminated by than FaZe Clan. Spoit went out to Anaton on CAG. But up against FaZe, you still gotta step up.
A little dig in there. Just like a little dig.
Sorry. This is the moment where VP get tested. This is the moment where they have to come back. They are not used to going out this early in tournaments. Neither are FaZe Clan, of course. They finished top 6 at 3 of the last 4 invitationals. And FaZe have attended the last 8, including this one. Neither team have ever won. It might all end on CCTV Cash for Virtus.pro.
Really is quite the disappointing result for VP if you're a fan of theirs, but we have to say goodbye to good teams. Lost Invitational winning squad in G2 earlier. Dark Zero, the major winning org, gone as well. The defending major champions of W7M also left today. A world champion in Troy Canadian went home too. There's a lot of good players, a lot of good teams, and a lot of history when it comes to this event. When you go from 16 down to 8, there's gonna be some good teams that go. Honestly, if these teams didn't want to be in this position, I know it sounds a little simplistic, but shouldn't have found yourself in the lower bracket in the first place. FaZe Clan got here earlier today, Jesse, by pummeling Team Liquid. Liquid having a very quiet and relatively disappointing event.
They're not out of it yet. Always in a Raptors power position to start off this round. He's going to be the point of contact. Cyber from the breach is holding across. And always knows just how tough this position is. That's why he's got the Kibas to protect him. That's why he's got that Goyo canister on the stairs too. To keep things slow and steady. To stall out as much time as he can. He's thinking about popping it, but nobody is nearby. As soon as that Blackbeard starts to make his way up, there he goes.
Always in a terrible and unwinnable spot, Jesse. Grenade sails in. Down he goes. 4 remain for Virtus.pro. FaZe have a golden opportunity. The least competitive of all 3 maps so far. We really wanted a best of 3, and I gotta say, I kind of wish it went the opposite order.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that this one was won by VP, and then we had Bank as the decider with how close it was. I don't care which team wins. I just wanted a relatively good series, and it's been a good series up to this point, but FaZe has dominated here on Clubhouse.
VP unfortunately looked worse every single map, and that just might turn around. They answer one with Dan finding KDS, but this is going to be the moment. With the Goyo canisters burning out, they won't have enough time to stall it completely. Pasha's got the Toxic Babes. That could be the difference maker, and another down on King.
It's very winnable for Virtus.pro. All comebacks begin with a single round. King at this point, maybe not reachable by Handy. Souls was stepping up to see if he could assist and provide some aid. King now retrieved with 25 seconds left. Joystick here's one over towards Red. Tried to be pounced upon by the breach. They fail. Joystick now holding it down as he evades the flash. Dan long range with a kill. It's all up to Handy and Souls. Handy with Diffuser in the midst of the Toxic Plume. Now it's Souls' turn to break into the site, finding kills that don't matter but still look good on the stats. Pasha gasses him out, and VP stays alive for one more round.
We play on. FaZe Clan suffering from a lot of the same problems that VP did. The clock ticking down and down and down. It took them forever to get that Rafters control, and it was clean. They got the pickup, but once they had moved through Rafters and approached the bomb site, the angles were too strong from Virtus.pro. They got a couple of good downs before that execute really came out. Virtus.pro will now need to win back-to-back-to-back defenses on 3 different bomb sites. They can end on CCTV Cash again in round 12 to force the overtime, but until they get to that point, they're going to have to win these sites that FaZe Clan have already proven that they can attack on. That's the thing, though, right? I mean, when the pressure gets high, attacking is the most difficult thing in Rainbow Six Siege. It's not the defenders who typically choke out in moments like this. It's usually the attack that starts to fumble when things get rough. And FaZe Clan, well, they know what that feels like.
It's rough for Virtus.pro, but you're very right. A lot of the time, you're battling the clock and the defenders. The defenders are not in that same predicament. They sit and wait. It's incumbent upon FaZe Clan to read into the layers that Virtus.pro have worked into their defenses and overcome it. So far, as you see from the scoreline, FaZe Clan's been doing an okay job, but there have only been a couple rounds here for Virtus.pro to defend.
Dan on a solo roam. He's on the top floor playing main stairs all by himself, just a man in his Cybertruck trying to lock things down on a roam game. It is not really that extended, of course. He's got the fallback pretty close by. He doesn't want to be really running around that top floor.
Jesse, here's another fun fact for you.
Yes, Parker.
Virtus.pro still very much in the lead when it comes to opening duels. We have completed 9 rounds. Virtus.pro have drawn first blood 6 of those times. FaZe Clan have done it 3. For the 3rd map in a row, Virtus.pro have been the unquestionably better team at getting pick number 1. But it's picks 4 and 5 that seem to be the big obstacle for them. If it really just came down to the first kill, Virtus.pro would have skated to a victory already.
What a horrible game that would be.
First person to get a kill wins the round.
First kill wins? Like, good God, imagine being an anchor player. You just never fight anyone.
Easiest job in the world. King George could come back.
Minute 30, halfway through the round, and of course, nobody is dead. I don't think we've had a single kill before the minute 30 park through this whole map. I'm sure we have at some point, but like it doesn't feel like it.
Only 3 times have we had a kill happen before the 1 minute and 30 mark, and 2 of those happened in rounds 1 and 2.
Okay, yeah.
So it's been a long time.
Well, doesn't mean we won't get an explosive finish. Once again, everything on the line for FaZe Clan. Blue is going to be a focus for them. They toss in a flash, but it's not a commitment just yet. The Fuse Kit is over towards Blue too if they want to, but Moto is another option.
You just see that drone deep inside the bomb site, getting information on 3 of these players on the side of VP. Always has to trudge through the fire. Are you kidding me? He gets 1 pick. King was on the hatch, so he's there for insurance. As Blue is right now where Virtus.pro will look to bury FaZe Clan. An advantage for the Russians as King and Cyber stand tall with 30 seconds left. King softening up these defenders, but not finding a kill. Right now, they're just slipping through FaZe's hands like sand through an hourglass. Another round for Virtus.pro. They have stitched together 2. And they're still trailing, Jesse, but a comeback, she's brewing.
Sometimes in life, you've just got to make a call. And always says, my call is going to be rushing into Moto. The round lives or dies based on how this goes. And he didn't have his gun up. He wasn't ready to take a gunfight right there, but neither were FaZe Clan. And that's the big difference. FaZe were not yet ready to start the action. Virtus.pro, by taking the action to FaZe, by starting the execute, frankly, for the attackers, just a few seconds early before FaZe were all set up to go for it. Well, that just started the house of cards to tumble down to the ground, and now VP have strung 2 rounds together. It's still just a 6-4. FaZe Clan took all that time to set up around the top floor. They got in towards Moto. They were so close to saying 3, 2, 1, execute. They might have even started talking about the timer. But it didn't matter when Always made that move out. He now breaks double digits. The young captain of VP. Everybody else followed him up too. It wasn't just a solo play. He only got 1 frag, but that was really the starting pistol for Virtus.pro and for FaZe. That's got to be the same key going forward. You've got to disrupt the FaZe Clan through the rest of this series. Reminder that they burned their attack timeout very early after round 4 when the scoreline read 2-2.
We were quite surprised by it. You said it was an act of brilliance and FaZe won the next 2 rounds.
Exactly. It paid off. It got them that 4-2 half that they were looking for, but it doesn't matter if you choke out these attacks.
Cyber and Joystick, by the way, still at the bottom of the standings in this contest. Joystick's numbers have been abysmal by just about every metric. Virtus.pro is basically dragging him to the finish line at the moment, providing that VP even makes it there. Right now, this is still very much FaZe's match, and despite the fact that Virtus.pro have won the last 2 rounds, there's no given that that will give you momentum moving forward. FaZe Clan could literally read into this perfectly, rush into the bomb site, get 5 kills in the span of 5 seconds, and that's the match. No economy, mechanics, or anything like that in this game. You just have to take each round as if it was 0-0.
Something tells me FaZe aren't going to sprint into the bomb site anytime soon. But
it wasn't literal, Jesse.
Always is the man who's going to make the move again. Goes down to the basement, all the way down main stairs, and he's going to flank through Oil Pit, it looks like. Playing on this castle, he's not got the best weaponry, but no util in pocket means that if he does die, it's not a big deal. But does it matter? All 5 players are on Jacuzzi Breach.
He might just sprint on in. Looking for a vault. First domino to fall, maybe, as Dan is punished. KDS is dropped, so neither team with a lead at the moment. Pasha answers right back. Pasha with 3 huge kills in this position. That's the problem for FaZe when you stack up. King tells him to take a seat as he drops the hammer on Pasha. Still an advantage for Virtus.pro. And I suspect there will be a bit of calm as there's still time to go. Just under 1 minute. Andy will look for a kill onto the Fenrir. He finds it. Virtus.pro peeks that angle, not expecting what comes next. The last 2 players both off site. Always looking for a retake. FaZe right now are both inside a bathroom. Vidiking taking some damage. He's got the read, but not the kill. Shepard is there, as solid and dependable as ever, and now Handy, in the midst of the site, will have to pick up that diffuser. Handy has been a miracle worker, but where are you going to plant? You are so exposed. Both players from VP will rush on in. Handy amidst the fire gets one. All he needs to do is find Shepard, and the round is FaZe. The matchup would go in their favor. Shepard sees him though and says, not today. One more round of regulation. Virtus.pro are tightening the screws on this match.
We just can't give it up, can we? Every time you think it's a goner, always flanking all the way to the other side of the map, unaware that Virtus.pro would be left stranded on the site. But who was it? Pasha, who steps up. Let's watch it again. No. Handy instead was the one that started to make this entry point, started to bring things back. Didn't have the eyes on Shepard. Really, Pasha playing inside a gym was so incredible for VP. Not only getting the man advantage, but stalling out that round. If he dies, if he doesn't get all those kills, then FaZe are rushing the bomb site. And again, always is across the map. Nowhere able to help his teammates, but he bought enough time for the rotate to come back through construction. But a bit surprised to find not a single player applying backside pressure. FaZe Clan on series point, up 6-4, really said 5-man on breach, and it almost worked.
It wasn't for Pasha killing every single person because you didn't drone him out of his position. You saw the castle barricade on that weight room door, and you thought you had an opportunity to do some serious damage. Why would Virtus.pro castle off this door and then leave the bomb site completely undefended with the wall shot open? Well, maybe because Pasha's there inside a bathroom for the quick rotate, should he need to flit between the bomb sites. This is a far cry from when these teams years ago on North American soil in North Carolina did battle. FaZe Clan stunned us at the time, going to a map that Team Empire, the team that came before Virtus.pro with this roster, showed that they were so strong on. You do not take Empire to Clubhouse. That was what everybody said when map bans came in. Not only did FaZe do it, but they styled on it. Either a 6-1 or a 7-1 scoreline. I can't exactly keep track because I know we increased the scoreline.
Pretty sure it was 7-1 in Charlotte.
It wasn't Charlotte, it was Raleigh.
I meant, okay, still.
Same state, different city. But point still stands. FaZe Clan have had a contest here that they might not have expected. Feels like we're back on Skyscraper with how slow this is. Dan is the very first casualty. For Virtus.pro fans, what tragedy this would be if a comeback got this close but ultimately failed to materialize.
It's like Kiva Barrier Fortress up on rafters. Can they nade it out? Blackbeard, perfect information. More angles coming down from outside the garage. He just jumps it, Parker.
He doesn't have anywhere to go. He doesn't have a rotate in that wall. He knows the moment he tries to vault over, he'll be watched from the opening, and more grenades would come in. That was only a losing situation from Always. Now up the Blackbeard will go. FaZe reading into this so well. They realize that there's a weakness presenting itself from Virtus.pro, and you have to swarm these remaining defenders. Now it's Joystick's turn to take an awful lot of damage. FaZe have excelled when they can split their forces. Vidiking with the diffuser down. Toxic Babe will miss. Overseeing the execute is KDS, and it will be a scramble for both of these teams with the diffuser on the ground. Pasha's gone, Joystick will fall, and that's going to be curtains for Virtus.pro unless Shepard can pull it off, but he cannot. FaZe Clan survived quite the scare. They send Virtus.pro home and move on to battle the Falcons tomorrow.
Brazil stays winning here in the lower bracket. What a comeback from FaZe Clan after being dominated in map 1. It looked like VP were the stronger of the two teams. They had beautiful attacks on Skyscraper, managing to grab that 3-3 split, and then dominated the start of Clubhouse, running things round after round, calling their attack timeout to ensure that they would win the first half. They almost made that happen, map 3, man. Virtus.pro, so close. The adaptation was there. FaZe Clan were fumbling. The 5-man executes were not going their way. Maybe the slowest game of the Six Invitational comes to a close. head in hands for VP. Brutal ending.
Pasha very emotional about that one, and I mean, every team comes to SI thinking they can be world champions. And if you make it into the upper bracket, you just end up a couple games away. These lower bracket matches, Jesse, it's a gauntlet, as you called it. And there are, as I've said time and time again, I say time and time again, there are a lot of good teams down here. We have said goodbye to former world champions on the same team, world champions on other teams. Virtus.pro are major champions. They're Pro League final champions. They will not be SI champions for at least another year. They lost in the finals to G2. They lost in the finals to TSM. FaZe Clan still searching for their